Hey gang, this is Fillmore, just letting you know that if you enjoy our podcast, quite frankly, a Howard Stern podcast, and you'd like to donate some money for the upkeep, or you want to request certain clips, please donate to our Patreon page at patreon.com/JimFix. That's JIMFIXX. You can donate as much as you want for as long as you want. There's absolutely no obligation.
It seemed to me like it was a love story that a month later you were divorced.
It wasn't a month later. It was several years later.
Come on.
What? Come on. What am I lying?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, what do I got to lie for? I'm divorced over 10 years now. What do I have to make that up for?
You've been with Beth for like 9, right?
Yeah.
All right, well. Would you get like divorced and then meet Beth the next day?
Just about, yeah. No, I got divorced after I was separated. And then I got divorced. I don't know. It was a year or two. I'm not good with dates, but the fact is that when I did the movie, what can I tell you? I thought my marriage would last forever. Shit happens.
JT answering a question right now.
Yeah, I'm like Mushmouth over there. That's the best I can do, John. I was gay way before I met Beth. I have a wide varying interest level.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do, when it comes to media.
You have a very gay interest level.
I love Smallville. Beth doesn't make me watch Smallville. What do you think? I do everything Beth wants?
My girlfriend speaks fluent French.
No.
Yeah, so she,
You're kidding.
yeah, so she knows what standard, like but she's shy about it, but she could say to the waiter, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm like, wow, that's cool. I respect anyone who could speak another language.
That's a classy broad.
She could speak German, French, and English.
How'd she learn all that?
Yeah.
Well, when she was in Europe, she just picked up the language.
Oh, when she was in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Beth always says to me, you're much older than I am. You're 19 years. What am I going to do when you're dead? Blah, 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 blah. And I go, honey,
She's gonna have a party.
let me tell you something.
Party.
Oh, look. Now we know how Robin's thinking.
Wow.
No, now you're gonna say, I'm making a
You're
joke.
fucked up.
Joke.
Oh, I didn't even I'm a dark motherfucker. My mind didn't even go there.
Wow.
You guys are ridiculous.
You suck.
How dare you? You assholes.
Wow.
You
We're busy
said
yesterday
everything
shopping for
to
her
me.
birthday gift.
You're an
You are
asshole.
shameful.
Come on, you know what?
Everybody here
Wow.
says everything to me.
Arnie,
But you're closer to him. You're a girl.
Ouch.
That's why it's a joke.
That hurt.
You know what I was saying?
Yeah, not from you.
I was thinking,
You're not that funny. I got news
I
for
was
you.
thinking she's going to have to wait a long time. I mean, you've got like genes on your side. You're going to be like 150
Well,
years
I
old.
said
before
thank you
feel
for
it.
I said to her.
It's a joke.
Yeah, okay.
She doesn't have to start planning for the party for you.
Welcome, everybody, for the third and final installment of the Summit Breakdown on, quite frankly, a Howard Stern podcast. I'm your host, Fillmore, a.k.a. Fillmore Fingers, a.k.a. Jim Fix, and with my wonderful co-host, Sam.
Hey, everyone.
And this is going to be a doozy, guys, because we still got the bulk of it to get through, but we think we're going to be able to power through pretty quickly. So let's continue where we were with part 2. As we finished off, he was about to start talking about Lana Wachowski for some wonderful reason.
Strategizes on how we're going to make this part of my vision come true for 2013. I said to Gary recently, I watched a tape of Lana Wachowski, who, I think I'm saying her name right. She's the director of The Matrix. She was a man, she became a woman. The woman was fascinating. And I said, I think she'd be really good on our show, Lana Wachowski. Nobody's had her. She never does an interview, but she sort of came and did a address to people and was comfortable talking about her transition from being a man to a woman. Thing was riveting. The speech was riveting. It was great.
I want to discuss this just a little bit. I know we have so much tape to go through, but this one's one of the key points, Sam. Now, keep in mind, everybody, that Lana Wachowski, and there was the two Wachowski brothers, Andy and Larry. Larry became Lana. Andy, this is confusing. Stay with you. You need like a scorecard to keep up with this, guys. Andy became Lily later. And as far as long ago as 2008, I think she started being referred to as Lana, and then didn't really do a lot of press. They were notoriously like press shy, the Wachowskis. They would do movies and then release them, and that was it. But after The Matrix, they had sort of released bomb after bomb after bomb. They were not really hot anymore.
I also don't understand why he thinks somebody who doesn't do interviews regularly just gave out kind of a brief statement about their transition.
Mm-hmm.
And then he thinks, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect for us.
Well, the thing...
like, I mean, look at these. He's like, must send examples of our work. Okay, would that be the time where Mike Morales had to smell the undercarriage of Siobhan? Or would it be how you treat elegant Elliot Often? Or
when you
examples?
When you had Tula the transsexual on and you dressed like a woman to make her feel comfortable and allowed her
you threw a sausage at her.
Yeah. So, I mean, anyway, the bottom line is, in 2012, Lana Wachowski was out promoting, doing press for, I think it was Cloud Atlas, which was a Tom Hanks film, and I never saw it. I heard good things about it, and it just looked stupid to me. But it bombed horribly, and she did do some press for it. The problem is, of course, he's not talking about he says that's the director of The Matrix. The Matrix, the last one finished in 2003. They were not on anybody's radar. And the only reason they're getting press was really about anytime they're doing a new project. But he's not talking about the project. He's talking about how she transitioned. Why is he so obsessed?
And again, he had transsexuals on and transgenders on, and he treated them awful. He even sort of, bullied Nicole Bass into trying to say she wanted to be a man when she never said that.
And keep in mind, right up until Artie left, or around the time Artie left, Artie was doing a really awful impression of what Chaz Bono would be speaking like as a man. I mean, it was kind of funny, but it was really vulgar. And this was only at this point 3 years earlier or 2 years earlier. So it's not as if it was that long ago that he was being this, unevolved shithead.
I mean, this is when he puts strategy out here, and these are the points he's making. We reach male homophobic audience, and let's send him some of our work. I think he must have hit his fucking head on the sidewalk. I don't know what he's thinking.
Well, this is my question to you, Sam, and I know I'm going to know the answer. But do you think this is this is him? This isn't Marcy saying this is the kind of guest you should get. This is strictly him.
Oh, he's always been obsessed with this cross-dressing. Look at Miss America. Enough.
Sure.
I mean,
forget it. All those Christmas cards.
Obsession. The most comfortable Stern ever has looked is when he's in drag, bar none.
Mm-hmm. And kissing guys. So he's got Rosie O'Donnell and Ellen, pictures of the two of them, neither of whom are transsexuals. Why are they on this particular slide?
I have no idea.
So let's keep going.
So Gary called her. Her people declined. Guess that's it. Okay, no Lana Wachowski. Bullshit. It doesn't stop there.
It doesn't stop there. You tail her. you follow her down. You go to her doorstep. You letter bomb her.
We're gonna be like Harvey Levin.
We should let Lana Wachowski and her people know who we are.
Yeah.
We're talking to a male homophobic audience. We have a lot of homophobia in our audience. Howard is a regular speaker on gay and lesbian and transgender topics. He has stood up for the gay community. In the case of Ellen DeGeneres, he asked his audience to boycott JCPenney. In the case of Rosie O'Donnell, he stuck up for her when she had a gay cruise and she was attacked for it.
Oh my God. I mean, who does he think he's fooling at this point in time? Who does he think?
I can't believe that these words are coming out of his mouth and his staff right now isn't like, huh? I mean, not one of these pussies can be like, can you please explain what the fuck you're saying right now? Do you know what show you run?
Yeah. What show have you been on the last 25 years? And also, he's 4 years away from saying about Wendy Williams that I think she has a dick.
I think she stands up when she pees, guys.
Right, exactly.
That was exactly, by the way, what he went to. It wasn't the first. It was the first thing he went to. Bug eyes, standing up. She's a man.
And you know it was because he couldn't use the N-word, and he was begging to use it.
Oh, of course it was.
Anyway.
Continually made it our mission to talk to a male homophobic audience and convert them, make them understand that their feelings about gay people are backward, and what better way to move forward and to, never mind preaching to the converted, Lana, because that's what you did when you addressed the gay and lesbian community. Preach to the people who really need to hear your message the most. And we can craft a continual campaign to get Lana on the show if that's what we decide to do.
So they never did get Lana in the end. So this was a big waste of fucking time. And the other thing is, your audience, convert your audience, convert your homophobic audience. If you believe your audience is all homophobes, why would you think they'd want to hear Lana Wachowski? That's kind of the whole point. You're not going to enlighten people who are 50 and whatever. Your audience already, there's no conversion possible.
I don't understand any of this thought process. And by the way, if he failed at doing this, I mean, I would love to see that campaign. What would he possibly be sending? Like you said, the Chaz Bono bit, do you think he would be sending that? That seemed good.
Yeah.
And Lana should be, approached every once in a while. She should get an email. Hey, guess who we had on today? Guess what we did today? Look how many movie tickets we sold. She's got to be approached in an organized way by this core team. So, who am I talking to?
Okay.
So that Tula, the transsexual, Caroline Cossey, she wrote she was interviewed in the Daily Mail in 2016, and she said, I remember a particularly harrowing radio interview with U.S. shock jock Howard Stern. When he dressed as a woman, he made a joke about cutting off his penis and threw a sausage at me. I felt sick to my stomach. I'd gone from Vogue to this. I had hate mail saying I was an abomination too. That's when I began to shut down, to turn down all work. I needed my sanity back. We moved to Atlanta for 6 months. I didn't leave the house. So he basically put her into a depression that ended her so-called career. She was back in doing and talking about her career again and doing tours and modeling again. And then she got shut down all over because of this ass. And this is why I'm really struggling to understand what the fuck he's thinking.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you give up the fucking struggle to try to change your image that drastically, because it's not going to happen, not on that angle. And I think Chaz Bono did come in eventually, didn't she? Didn't he? Sorry.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. So that did work, but he's not talking about Chaz. He's talking about Lana. He wanted the big fish. So let's keep going, and this is where it gets even more cringeworthy, guys. I'm sure you all know, but you're going to hear it again.
The guys who are considered on the radio show, the tapes team, the news team, Howard TV, and where's Mike Morales? There's Mike. I'm talking to him. I happen to follow Mike on his Facebook page. I don't know how many followers you have on Facebook, Mike, but you know what? You're a guy who's passionate about gay issues. You're passionate about speaking out. And what a wonderful get if you crafted the campaign to get Lana Wachowski on the show. Of course, you couldn't have. You didn't know we were pitching her. But I love your passion about gay issues. And you're someone who should be behind that effort, and you should help us craft that effort because you're very effective on Facebook. Unfortunately, on Facebook, how many followers do you have?
I don't know. On Facebook, maybe 500. On Twitter.
All right, 500 people. I'm talking about getting Lana Wachowski on a show that has millions of people that can really affect change.
Okay, we have to stop it there because that was a long stretch. So imagine you're Mike Morales, who's, I believe he was part of the news team, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah. Now, High Pitch Mike is on Facebook, fine. In 2013, guys, Facebook had 1.2 billion users. 1.2 billion. And he's going on pretty soon. He's going to say, fuck Facebook. So he's already shitting on Facebook for no good reason. Yet he's also bringing it up as a place that he follows him on Facebook. And he went off then around that time, he got off it eventually because he's useless with social media anyway. And he was just getting too much negativity. But so you're going after a guy in the news team who's gay, but doesn't really want to be, specialized for that. He doesn't want to be picked out for that purpose. Go ahead, Sam.
Okay, so now that he's calling Mike out for this, I had a few more questions for Richie Wilson, and I said I wanted to know a couple more things. And that train wreck, he singled out Mike Morales because of his sexuality to get a hold of Lana Wachowski, singled out in the PowerPoint and verbally. How did Mike take that? How did you guys see that aspect towards Mike? And he answered a two-part question with this, so I'm just going to give both answers. Not sure how he took it. If I remember, he sat away from us. It was kind of shitty to call him out. Would Howard have called out the black employee to get a black actor/rapper to come in? Mm-hmm. I then asked him, also, did anyone call him out after to say that thing was entirely insane? He said, not really. Everyone walks on eggshells and is afraid to say or do anything. During the meeting, I called out Howard's hypocrisy and asked if he wanted us to book a list of guests. Will he try to convince some of his friends to come in, like Steve Martin? So that was kind of interesting, I thought.
He explained that before, he'd said that before somewhere, I remember, and he said that Wiggy got upset with him for even suggesting it.
Oh, I mean, because you can't make sense of nonsense, and you can't call him out on his... By the way, being gay and being transgendered is something completely different. So when it's very important to understand this difference. Just because you're transgendered doesn't make you gay. It's not about sexuality. Gender and sexuality are two separate facets.
Yeah.
And the fact he's calling out Mike Morales and saying, well, you're gay. Why don't you do something with this transgender? Well, he's not only fucking beyond harassment, it's just wrong.
Yeah.
It's workplace harassment, and he's misguided.
Well, not only this, but just imagine you're Lana Wachowski, and they go, hi, my name is Mike. I'm Mike Morales, and I'd like you to come be on the show. So they're first of all, they've not just chosen a guy whose high-pitched voice is going to be a pitch man for you to come on the show, but they find out, they sent the gay guy to me. Why? Like, okay, maybe he happens to be gay, but he's also a high-pitched guy with his eyes are, in Greek we say stravomati, and I mean. Nothing against Mike. I don't care. I don't care that his eyes are googly and whatever bullshit. But
I understand what you're saying.
You're going to put best foot forward. You would put someone who's put together, who looks, a little more, I don't know, corporate, I suppose. And Mike doesn't look corporate.
If it's your show, Howard, you would call Lana Wachowski. You would put this effort in. Yeah. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Why an underling? Why an underling? Because number one, by the way, Lana Wachowski probably has way more money than Wig. She's way richer and doesn't have to give a fuck about him and his show. So let's continue on. This one just boggles my fucking mind. I still, even to this day, it's 2020. I can't understand, except if it's just the whole transgender pitch, because he's fascinated with dressing up in drag, and it's just nuts. Anyway, Sam, yeah, you were gonna say?
And none of his celebrity friends call him out. Everyone can see this video. Not one person in the press besides, talking about the embarrassing tweet that's saying to get fake fans. That was the big headline from this. This should be the big headline.
Absolutely.
This workplace harassment. I mean, What the hell? Is everyone deaf?
I think so.
You work for the Howard Stern Show. Fuck Facebook. You work for the Howard Stern Show. And Facebook is bullshit. It's 500 people. We can reach millions right now. We can affect change.
Wait a minute.
I want all of us working, not just Mike. I thought of Mike because I follow him on Facebook and I know he's passionate about this. But any passion can be pursued through our show.
Okay, so they literally said on there, "High Pitch Mike, I follow him on Facebook. Get Lana." Like he's got an in with her anyway.
I just thought he said that Facebook is interesting and can reach a lot. Like he was talking about Mike Morales's Facebook and how he's doing things for gay rights, and he should be, by the way, because Howard should tell him what to do, right? Okay,
Exactly.
But now it's fuck Facebook, but try anyway. I mean, what are you talking about?
Well, that's the same with fuck Twitter. Hey, let's make fake Twitter accounts and use it. Which is it? It's so contradictory and so nonsensical. It could only come from the brain of 79. Let's call him 69 from now on. I still think 79 is too high.
Actually, in today's show, which is so unfortunate that I was listening to it, Richard said the Whack Pack probably only has a couple IQ points less than most of the staff. And that's like...
generous.
And there was like, you could have a pin drop when that was said because nobody's denying they're all a bunch of idiots.
Yes, they are.
How are these people? Well, you could just tell from this PowerPoint. If this is the if this is the guy steering the ship, could you imagine what the crew is like?
Yes. Keep in mind, guys, that according to the Reddit mole, that Tracy Millman and High Pitch Mike quit without having jobs lined up. Right. This was the year they actually not long after this thing, they both left. That's how much they hated being there. And, most people, I think in New York, unless you're moving, you've got something lined up, that's got to be incredibly stressful. But imagine how much more stressful the workplace that forced you to do that. It's unbelievable. So.
Let's come up with a strategy. David Bowie. New record comes out. Wow. My mind started racing. New record out from David Bowie? Who says more positive things about David Bowie than me?
This is a guy who was actually shitting on David Bowie pretty regularly, semi-regularly. And, okay, he likes a couple of his songs. What is the real thing about David Bowie that he loves? That he came out, that he was he came out as bisexual way back when. And that he dressed up as a woman. You know what I mean? Like, what's the common thread in this?
What rock star didn't have an orgy and maybe suck a dick? Who cares?
I guess so. And so he I think he played the birthday show one time. They paid Bowie to play at K-Rock, I believe it was, and live, but he never did an interview, and that was about it. That's as close as he could get. So he's always had a hard on to get Bowie, but at this point it's just to get that 2-hour interview and get sound bites out of him.
David Bowie, if he does an interview, will probably go on Letterman or some bullshit show like that where they don't say...
So he's talking about Letterman, bullshit show like Letterman, a network television show. That's bullshit.
Oh,
Imagine
okay.
So Letterman's hearing this. Why isn't Letterman fucking calling him out on this?
I don't know. He had him on that news or what is it that I don't know.
The
Netflix interview show. Yeah. That boring bullshit.
I would have played him this. I would have said, "So can you explain this, shithead?"
Oh my God, I know. Or Ellen. Why doesn't Ellen? While Beth is on, with nothing to say and really no life, high as a kite on cocaine, where she basically wasted the entire segment in one and then had nothing to say for the rest of it. Why don't you just say, well, you know what, since you don't have anything to say, let me replay, since you said you like my special so much. Ellen looks like she smelled bad pussy. Her face looks like she smelled. Let's do that.
She should play the Gilbert reciting it on Artie's podcast. That was great.
Say a fucking thing about David Bowie. I'm on here regularly talking about what a genius David Bowie is. Does David Bowie know it? No. How does David Bowie find out about it? Well, maybe he'll subscribe to Satellite. I doubt it.
Again, no faith in Sirius, but yet he claims it's all, they got so many listeners. Again, which is it, guys? If you have so much reach, what's the point of this?
There's got to be an organized campaign. David Bowie's coming out with a new record. He did it by surprise. Boom! Our fucking team is on it. He gets the pamphlet that Sirius helped us create. He gets the Howard TV donut right away. He gets it. His publicist gets it. His record company gets it. His management gets it. Fucking Tony Visconti gets it.
And Tony Visconti, I'm going to just hold on for a sec, Sam. Tony Visconti was, of course, a legendary producer. He worked with Thin Lizzy, Boomtown Rats. He worked with Bowie, obviously, all those Brian Eno records, and even, I think, Bowie's first record. So she's a legendary producer and did shitloads of work over the years with a lot of artists. So it's kind of like, again, it's this reach around thing, like, hey, scratch this guy's back and he'll get him in touch with them, and this is how desperate we are to get him. We'll, go through like intermediaries to get through a fucking client who, if he wants to do your show, he'll fucking do it, but you're not going to be able to get to him this way. Yes, Sam.
Play him a tape of me as his biggest fan. That's the last point of this. Okay. Howard almost smashes Bowie's guitar, 10/5/1999.
Yeah.
David Bowie's equipment was still sitting around late in the show, so Howard picked up his Fender guitar and started fooling around with it. He strummed it a few times, found it was out of tune, played it, and then suggested that someone smash it because Bowie didn't show up.
That's his biggest fan.
Yeah.
He's such a little fucking pussy.
He later decided to give Bowie's guitar away in a contest. So if he was his biggest fan, wouldn't he take the guitar
Wouldn't
and
he be
hang it up?
Wouldn't he put it in glass?
Yeah. Could you imagine? I mean, this is how you know he's so full of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
He gave it away in a contest.
See, if that was a true fan, would absolutely like jerk off on that guitar. He would like treat it with kid gloves. He put on gloves and like wrap it in a diaper and like pray to it or something. I've never been like that with paraphernalia and stuff. But it would be worth something, first of all. And if he was really a fan, he would never let anybody near it.
No.
Yeah, so I don't get it. I really don't fucking get it. It's a combination of hubris right now because he thinks he's hot shit. And it's that conflict that we were discussing. He knows he's not reaching anybody, but this is like grasping at straws, really desperation at this point.
Visconti, his producer, is a friend of our show. He's a friend of the court. We've done Tony Visconti on the show many times. We send those materials to Tony Visconti. We don't call up a record company or David Bowie's management and say, would you like to do the show? And then when we get our first no, we give up and say, fuck it, and we never have him on. Play him the tape of me.
Jesus.
This is
play him the tape of him acting like a petulant child giving away his guitar.
How's it different than Leave Britney Alone on YouTube? Just try to make it viral.
This inspiration has way flown out the window. You got maybe a minute and a half of inspiring. So everyone should be excited about this. Harass everyone, motherfuckers, or we're done.
And not only that, he's got a picture of Bowie from the film Labyrinth on the thing. I don't know why this is so... I don't know what the correlation is.
We need to have A-list guests.
Oh, sorry, one sec.
This is what we need to do. We need to have A-list guests once a week. That's how you get them.
That's how you get
Neil Young ongoing project.
That's how you get them, by stalking them and sending them swag and trying to bribe them with the cheapest possible manner you can. Yes, Sam, you were going to say.
How's that working for you?
Okay, let's see what
We've
Neil
had
Young
Alec Baldwin on for the 200th fucking time since.
Yes, and David Spade at least twice this year.
I don't know. Who's talking about Neil Young on a daily basis? What media figure? I can't think of one. It's me.
Who the fuck cares about Neil Young? Really, the only time he was sort of in the news in the last, the usual music rags always run shit about him, but he did that Sonos thing. Do you remember? He was doing his own type of or Ponos, whatever the fuck it was called. I don't know. It was his own kind of media, like his beats by, by Neil Young, basically. And I think it went under. I'm not 100% sure. But otherwise, who gives a fuck about this old codger? Nobody.
I don't care. Again, not understanding your audience. We never gave a shit about these people.
No. Wait till we have Leslie West come in, and I love Mountain.
We
but-
want to in 2013. We want to get an update from Billy West. Bring him
Yeah.
in. We want
Yeah,
to see what the
absolutely.
fuck Artie is doing. Drag him up
Absolutely.
from a fucking park bench. Fuck off. Like,
Yeah, all this Neil Young, this horseshit.
I'm blowing this guy on the air every single day practically. Does he know it? Does he get copies of it? He should be bombarded.
he almost looked like he was going to charge the audience. He was going to be
Yeah.
bombarded.
Sorry, you were gonna say he looks like he's gonna leap into the audience.
Yeah, like what was that little pivot? I got nervous for a second. I was like, shit, he's either going to break a hip or run out into the crowd.
Yeah, it's. I think Bob D. When we do the next NPD episode, we might touch on it a little bit because we usually when we do those episodes we discuss the most recent stuff we've recorded, and this is part of it. But it's all pure emotion. This presentation, and all the best presentations you've ever seen, they're very professional. The person doesn't get heated. He's nothing but anger on this.
Yeah, if the emotion isn't anything but anger, if it had some heart to it, I'd say sure. It's all piss and vinegar.
Yeah, and semen.
Happened organically, they'd hear about it. Satellite, it's a closed system. Howard TV, closed system. Neil Young shouldn't be able to shit without hearing somebody talking about me.
Again, it's about him. Like why? Like you want Neil Young, but he's got to hear about you. Did you get that? He shouldn't be able to shit without hearing about me. Why aren't? And eventually Neil Young did come in, but it was like I'd say 2 years after this, and that was probably because he was doing the promotion for that sound stuff. So. Sam's if anybody wondering, Sam is grabbing her face with both hands and she's looking at it like the same way what's her name, Jamie Lee Curtis was looking at the window in Halloween.
I kind of believe everything in life is a system in some sort of way, a pattern, a system. And especially in your day or your routine or your career, you kind of figure out how things work and how they work well, especially if you're doing something for a really long time. Now, Howard had a successful system despite, I don't know if it was just pure luck or we can speculate on this at a different time, but why take a successful system and throw it all out the window with no plan in sight and pure anger? I mean, this is just absolute insanity to me. This is not even a plan. This is just pure emotion and no outlay for how you plan on achieving this differently. You're already successful. So I don't understand. Why is he pouring fucking water all over the keyboard? You know what I mean? Like, what is he doing right now?
Why didn't Neil choose us? I think I saw Neil on Jon Stewart. This is me sitting back in that room. Remember that picture in my room and,
Yes.
and the sheets of paper?
Yes, become rage, David. we know that fucking nutty room you were in. Yes, Sam.
So that room with the pieces of paper he's talking about was supposed to be inspiration, and he was saying in the beginning of the video, this is what I do to prepare for the show. You should take note, learn something from me, and try this on your own. But now he's basically saying this is the scribe of an insane person in anger, basically ferociously writing his pissed off memoir. Do you know what I'm saying? The message of what that was supposed to be completely has been now different.
Right. He didn't respond in a way of thinking, proactively and saying, okay, I want to get certain amount of shows, certain type of material out there now. I want to change my show to suit this kind of demographic, blah, blah, blah. He goes, fuck, why is that asshole on that fucking show? And he's not on my fucking show. Fuck him. Fuck Neil Young. That's what he's really saying. He can't say it. Even here, he doesn't want to say it, but that's what's really on his mind. How dare that person not do my fucking show? And that's the title. Why did Neil not choose us? Not how can we get Neil to come on this show more regularly, right? It's not a very positive message he's giving.
No. And his preparation in order to try to game plan to do these things So when he was thinking about how he's going to approach these guests, those big whiteboards in the giant science project room with all the sconces lit up were supposed to be the game plan. Well, where is it? What
Right,
did those
exactly.
actually say?
And he actually, this is another moment, it's coming up, but it's another moment where he actually complains about the plugging situation, but then it backtracks and says, he didn't give him a plug. Well, he gave him one plug. It's like, which is it, you fucking idiot?
I kept writing shit like this down to the point of seething with anger. Angry at myself, angry with this crew, because we're not doing this stuff. Now we're going to do it. He chose Jon Stewart over us. I guarantee you, Jon Stewart hasn't spent a minute talking about Neil Young on the air.
Yep.
Why would Jon Stewart be talking about Neil Young? He runs The Daily Show. If Neil Young, I don't know, happened to be doing something political at the time, fine. What does that have to do with Jon Stewart?
Well, beyond that, Jon Stewart what was the network Jon Stewart show was on? It wasn't Comedy Central, was it? Okay, Comedy Central is not, I mean, I know they're reasonably big now. They've become bigger over the years, but it's a TV show ultimately, and TV will always win out over a fucking glorified podcast, unless you are Joe Rogan, Mark Maron, all the big ones, right? Kumia is a big enough show to go on and do.
Yeah, and I don't understand too. Like, by the way, Jon Stewart put unlike you, Howard, Jon Stewart and Dave Chappelle put Comedy Central on the map. The Daily Show and the Chappelle Show and the roasts put Comedy Central in a league that was completely different from 10 years prior before that they were doing it. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand where he's going with this.
No.
John gave him one plug. Gave him one plug. Same when I watch rock stars go on there. One plug, and he's gone.
Well, you're only generally supposed to get one plug. I don't know what he's thinking. Like, they're going to put a jacket on that says, watch his new show, and on his eyelids, watch his new show. You know, it's not, first of all, and the other thing is, he's horrible with plugs. He's never been worse with plugs than in his life. When you remember the old days when they had proper sponsors, they would plug something at least 3 times any interview. They go to something.com, you know, whatever. He's really horrendously bad with plugs. So that's not an incentive. That's no incentive.
It's also a smaller segment of time.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about 7 minutes versus 2 hours.
Yes. Can you imagine John 7 minutes of plugging and then gets 1 minute of interview? Like that's what he's supposed to do. But that's the other thing. Howard's got an hour and something, and he doesn't do more than one plug. I mean, just certain interviews specifically, like that Robert Plant interview, he didn't even mention the new fucking album until the guy was out the door. I think I mentioned this before.
How big is your cock? Is Jimmy Page the love of your life?
He just wanted an hour and a half of fucking Led Zeppelin talk, and the guy's promoting a new album in 2017.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
This is after the summit, guys. Keep in mind, like, this is the whole point. Like, that's the kind of guest he wanted. He wanted these dinosaur rock legends to come in, whatever. Paul McCartney's been in since on Zoom, and I think he's been on since he's done a couple interviews, I think, including that Zoom. And I don't know, did he really plug him that much? I don't think so.
But Neil Young doesn't have any, management's like, fuck it, Stern's dangerous or whatever. Oh, yeah, they're not even thinking about us. We're not on their radar. We got to be on their radar. He doesn't know what we do. He doesn't know that we can offer him a live concert at one of those things that they did for Bon Jovi yesterday on Sirius.
Now, this is what I don't understand. How is that an incentive? We can offer him a live concert. No. You mean you can offer him the space to do a live concert? Who gives a shit? He could do a live concert at his house. I mean, he could do a live concert in the street.
$100,000 for it. You know what I mean? I mean, this is insane.
What kind of incentive is that? You can bring your guitar and play for us.
What is this, fucking camp?
We'll let you play.
We can leverage using all of Sirius with a recording of it. We bribe them. We offer them stuff. We find out what appeals to them.
We bribe them. Here's some Poland Spring water. Go ahead, Sam.
We bribe them. And look at this franticness. He's pacing so oddly, too, by the way, as more manic and crazed as he looks and starts getting. These paces are just very odd. And he's talking in a speed that's faster than his brain is going. So now he's saying, yeah, he could come in the thing and we bribe him.
But I love how it's written there. Bribe them. Offer them. Just offer them. Offer them what? Your firstborn?
He would in a heartbeat. What are you kidding? Emily's in a fucking potty and in the back of the limo. Take her.
Find out what appeals to them. Okay.
We have to become part of their marketing strategy. That's what professional organizations do. We say to them, what do you need? Here's what we think we can offer. Eddie Vedder's never done my show.
Okay. I want to talk about this for a minute, but please, Sam, go ahead.
Think about what we can offer. How about I want a cup of coffee? Wrong.
Not happening. Breakfast does not await, by the way.
I'd like an Eggo. Not happening.
Can I have some water? Yeah, no, not really.
Some lox to go with my bagels? Nope. Jerry took those home.
They're out of our price range. Would you like some cupcakes? They've only been half eaten by Benji. Okay, so Eddie Vedder. Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam has notoriously been anti-press for a long fucking time. It's not new. It wasn't new in 2013. It's not new now. But this idea that he's going to come up with here, get materials to Natalie Maines from the fucking Dixie Chicks, okay? Ask her to get to him. Show Eddie, the lead singer from Soundgarden, on her show. This is like the desperation you get when you're trying whatever you can to get this girl to date you, and she just won't. She's like, listen, I have a Corvette, and I got leather interior, and it's gassed up and ready to go, but you don't really have much to offer.
I'm actually looking at this, reading this, and trying to think of desperation in my life that I've witnessed or in myself. And it kind of reminds me of, or older, you know what? It's like older guys who wanted to go out with some girls in our group of friends and would offer to buy us beer when we were in high school. You know what I mean? Like they're just bribing us. Like, hey, listen, I'll pick you guys up. I'll take you to the dance and I'll buy you a 6-pack. Okay, sounds fine. Like, you know what I mean? I guess so. Don't expect anything, and we're going to ditch you the second we get there.
In my hometown, there was a guy, and there's always, everybody's town has one of these people. They will simply ask out every single girl to go home and fuck him until he finds one, and does not have like the embarrassment factor of wanting to stick your head in the sand when you get shot down the first time,
Oh my God.
And literally would find the drunkest four in the bar at the end of the night who would say, yes, sir, I'll go with you, and get it and be proud of it. Like, that's how desperate. But the town's so small that everybody knows that's your move, and it's only like Last Chance Saloon. Stern at this point in 2020 is Last Chance Saloon, and he's not aware of it, as we've spoken of in the previous installments of this breakdown.
I mean, you listen to this and then you see where it is now. It's beyond Last Chance. He doesn't realize he's on a respirator in the ICU.
Well, just as a business from a business point of view, what would you have done to change if you're a Marcy? Let's say you were Marcy and you had a brain in your head and you knew about spelling and you could put a proper presentation together. What would you recommend to him at this point? I have a couple ideas that I would have done. Go ahead.
Okay, so whatever you were doing that was successful and brings about, and you can even garner what was the most successful by looking at the views of old clips on Stern on YouTube. Which one garners the most hits? What has the most positive comments? There's actually a record without even you trying. You don't even have to send out one of those Arbitron ratings or surveys. It's all there on YouTube. Or social media. So why did that work? What made that work? It's not that hard to find out. And whatever those things are that worked, go back to those basics.
Well, he's not going to like hearing this, and I know it's going to get back to him at some point, but The fact is, when my first channel was up and I had about 14,000 subs, that was just my random Stern clips. The top 10 most viewed, and we're talking well over like 500,000 hits and stuff. About 6 of the top 10 were all Artie clips, Artie based clips. What does that tell you?
It tells you need a comedian.
Yeah, and then the other 3 or 4 were, let's say, what would I say? Staff fights, something like that. Staff fights, or an infamous like blow up or whatever it was. Might have been Artie, not Artie versus Teddy, but something like the Hack Pack versus, not Artie based, but definitely a fight. So it's not him interviewing fucking Jewel. It's not him interviewing Natalie Maines. It's not him interviewing anybody wasn't in the top 10 is kind of my point. So using that as a metric, and not because I had only Artie material, I had stuff from the decades past. It was really old stuff, newer stuff. So you're right. That's one way. Changing the dates. He's Monday to Wednesday. Wouldn't you get him to work 5 days a week at that point? Or at least get him to change the dates to later in the week?
Yeah, it's not like his life requires these certain select 3 days on, 3 days off, or you know what I'm saying? He could easily rearrange that and his life would be the same no matter what.
Yeah, he's not changed. Like, his lifestyle doesn't really change aesthetically. And it's not like he needs the weekend specifically. Like, he's got something planned where he's going to go, I'm going to this party on the 5th. Like, they don't get invited anywhere, first of all. There are no premieres. He doesn't want to go out. So what's the point? Make it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right?
Yeah, everybody knows your Hampton beard goes alone anyway.
Yeah, exactly. To, bullshit.
I talk more about Pearl Jam, again, more than Jon Stewart, more than David Letterman, more than Jimmy Kimmel. Eddie Vedder, no, we can't get him. What do you mean we can't get him? We know Natalie Maines, she's a friend of the court. Let's get the materials to Natalie and say, would you pass these on to Eddie personally?
Okay, now again, before you go into it, Sam, the metric he's using is network TV shows, and he doesn't understand he ain't network TV. Even if those guys only get ratings of, I looked it up, in 2013, they were all looking at like 3 million tops, 3 million each, 1.5 million viewers, whatever, the demo, but it's TV. That's what he's not understanding. Yes, Sam?
Why doesn't Jimmy say fuck you and just stop being friends with him at this point, or David Letterman? I mean, once this got leaked and he watched this. I mean,
Absolutely.
He watched this.
Yep.
He still does that thing where he goes on a Zoom meeting with him during all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand this dynamic unless there's some sort of
apology.
Unless there's something they have on them, on these people.
You've said that before, that you think...
I've said that before, that there must be something that they have on certain people for them to keep putting up with this shit.
Like
Otherwise, I don't understand it one bit. It's a fucking 2-bit radio guy. Nobody's feeling some sort of drive or some sort of obligation to go on the Opie podcast. Why is that? He was very famous and everything like that. Why Stern?
I wonder about that myself, because I don't think it's any kind of dirt. I think with Jimmy, it's strictly blind allegiance to a guy that he thinks is like, he treats him like he treated Don Rickles. The difference is Rickles was actually talented and Rickles was a nice person. Why doesn't Kimmel, after all this, especially the Scott the Engineer stuff, why wouldn't you tell him, that's fucked up, dude? You didn't have like 100K to fucking give to your employee who was on the balls of his fucking ass, and his wife dying of cancer. You could have made their lives easier a little bit. And there's no way he didn't know about that.
Of course. And Jimmy knew everything about the ins and outs of the show. So then the other train of thought I had, if he doesn't have dirt on these people and he has those continuous rotative kind of idols or people like the Kimmel and Letterman, Alec Baldwin, maybe if it's not dirt, maybe it's they're bad people too. And maybe they are similar ilk, like birds of the feather flock together type shit. Maybe there's some sort of phoniness, falsehood, shittiness about them that it's not as bad as Wiggy, but maybe there's something to that.
Maybe.
Just
I mean,
food for thought.
in terms of Kimmel, I think it's just pure adulation that he's an idol of his. But Letterman would be more like a peer, and he's a bit of a recluse and all these things as well. But there might be something to that. I don't think Letterman's a particularly good person. I doubt it when compared to Wig. But why he continues to do it, I think it's for a lark. I think he thinks fuck him, and he knows he's irrelevant. It's almost like throwing him a bone.
Play tape of me on the air talking about Eddie and singing along to Jeremy Spoke.
Jeremy Spoke.
Show a tape from Howard TV. I think the video is strong, of the lead singer of Soundgarden, that guy when he was on. Those guys respect each other. Someone's got to sit down and think this through. And we're going to be doing that in 2013.
Getting the name of the song wrong is not the way to get the pitch across. Imagine Pearl Jam looking at this go, man, did we ever write a song called Jeremy Spoke? No. Was that a B-side? Yeah. And so, okay, so the whole thing is like, let's try to strong-arm people, essentially. That's his approach. Let's strong-arm people into fucking and guilt-trip them into doing our show. Incentivize them. Do whatever we can, whatever the carrot is, but the bottom line is if they don't want to do your show ever, there's nothing you can do to make them want it, unless you've got pictures of fucking Kevin Bacon in panties, women's panties, and like J. Edgar Hoover was blackmailed by the mob for years into saying there was no mafia. So
yeah.
Anyway, so this one, Kevin Bacon, gotta love Kevin Bacon.
So Kevin Bacon was on. Kevin Bacon. Wait. I wasn't going to watch Kevin's show, but now I am. I really liked him on the Howard Stern show. Well, why wouldn't every publicist in the fucking world receive copies of every tweet? There were tons of tweets, tons of email. Fred compiles this email all the time. All this positive stuff that comes in should be put on a very attractive looking flyer, folder. Jenny Hutt does it. She doesn't.
Okay, before we go into that, I'm sorry to cut it off, guys. Sam desperately want to say something, and I do too. Go ahead.
I'm in shock at how stupid he is right now. First of all, every positive tweet should be on a flyer.
That's it.
Okay, what is this, elementary school in 95 when like, here's your weekly folder of all the things that are going on at school and the best things we're going to send home in your family folder. Like, what is this? It's 2013. I cannot even believe this is his strategy.
Were you in like when you remember in the second grade or third grade when they made you write Valentines to each other in class?
Oh, I fucking hated that.
Right. Okay. It's like Fred is compiling the only positive emails he can because he knows his boss doesn't want to fucking read that. The mandate at that point was something like, okay, don't piss off Howard. You think Fred is going to take all the negative stuff, which by that point there were shitloads. There was at least 50-50 at that point. He used to read the negative ones on the air, the negative messages, negative letters and stuff. At this point, the positive ones are bullshit or so few and far between that he's basing it on a lie. Like he's basing it on.
So in the one clip, he and Shuli were talking about Tan Mom, and Shuli said, "Is there any positive email?" And Howard said, "Well, if there isn't any, we just make them up. I just make them up."
I forgot about that.
I was like, that was I forgot a couple years ago when they had that conversation, because it was on Sternthology last week when that quote happened, and I was like, oh my God, like, so he said just make up email. So clearly they're making up email, and basically if you put in negative emails, it makes the positive ones sound more genuine. If there's no negative, it's not funny. You're not building yourself up to be anything but a phony, and everyone can sense that disingenuine fraud right in front of them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of the problem. He's actually doing this summit for a crew of workers that know he's full of shit inherently. They just know it. And so what kind of enthusiasm are you going to have for a boss that, number one, he's not incentivizing them to do this. It's not like High Pitch Mike is going to get a bonus if he lands Lana Wachowski. It's not like
Correct.
it's not
There's
like
no incentive.
to pay. They're not going to get financially remunerated for this. So it's retarded. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. There has to be a reason. If it was based on like producers, okay. I'm going to plug one of our buddies. James Santiago has got he's got a podcast called Turnbuckle Tabloid, I believe, and it's wrestling stuff. But he had KC on, and he interviewed him. It was a good interview. He really carried him through. He let him answer his fucking questions, unlike some places that really just stomp on guests like Wiggy. And he explained that as a producer, in case he was a producer, he was Jason, he was Will, basically. Before, and I think before them, I think they might have been interns, and then they became producers, quote unquote. He said he was only making $23,000 as a producer, as an associate producer on the fucking show. Can you imagine that in New York?
Well, this is my point, that even if he gives this presentation,
Right.
what are the incentives to do these now somewhat kind of crafted strategies he's throwing out here in this PowerPoint? What are you going to get from this? What is the pay structure? What are the bonuses? What are the kickbacks for doing what you're asking? Or here's what it is. More fear, more control.
Yep.
And everything is the same profitability wise, and you
That's
might
right.
lose your job. That's absolutely insane. They should have all realized, and this is what I wish every single one of them would do on the show. And I'm not just saying this for Stern, but anybody. Know your worth and realize when you're essential to something, you have the power.
Absolutely.
So you can organize yourselves, demand what you want from them, make clear demands. And if you don't have those demands met, walk the fuck out. Because he needs you more than you need him.
Absolutely. And that's Jackie's mistake. He was not able to mobilize Robin, Jackie, Fred, and Bowie. But I think those three ultimately knew they were unemployable outside of that show on a base level. Jackie had some kind of worth. And had they all decided we're all leaving, he would have been so fearful. He would have been resentful deep down, but he would have paid them what they fucking wanted. Absolutely. To keep them then.
Fuck him. Let him resent them. If Robin would have got, and this is why I dislike Robin so much. If Robin would have got on board with any one of those moves, power moves for the staff to get what they want, things would have been so much different, and nobody would be sitting here looking at this fucking insanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
She had half of you working on her show. All of those tweets about Kevin should have been sent to every major publicist in the country. Look what's going on for Kevin Bacon as a result of our show. They don't know about this stuff.
That's kind of the point, though. Twitter is something people independently seek out. You don't send actively Twitter, like, praise to publicists. It's about as desperate as what I just talked about, the dude in the nightclub asking every single person to fuck him before he finally lands one. So it's sad. Now that I think about it, it really is sad, this whole summit thing, because you're really seeing the delusions of a demented, senile or going senile 79 IQ madman who's got NPD up the fucking ass. Sorry,
who gives a fuck about Kevin Bacon?
I like Kevin Bacon. I liked my. What was his wife's show? It wasn't Profile, or what was it called?
I watched that.
Well, she had the Southern accent. My wife loved it. It became Major Crimes, but it was something else.
I know, Kira Sedgwick, and it's
not
Kira Sedgwick. What's her name?
That's correct.
It's
not The Profiler, but it was something like that.
Yeah, I used to watch too. Your wife and I like that there's a lot of the same shows, I noticed.
She's really the TV person. I'm more into movies, but every now and that one I did like, because I liked that the cast was really good in that. So anyway, this is where he goes into real wig metrics that are just retarded. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
You know what I was just thinking of? You know how in the movie Footloose, it just never made sense to me why dancing was banned in the first place. Like the whole plot is just so fucking insane. The town
It
that
is.
doesn't dance,
Right.
the town that doesn't dance makes more sense than this.
I think so. Yeah. That plot was, there was more thought went into that plot.
Letterman, Leno, Fallon, Kimmel combined don't have as many listeners. Do you look at the ratings? They're growing about The Tonight Show. The Tonight Show has about 2 million viewers.
Now I gotta cut loose.
If we, in fact, do have 23 million paid subscribers, and what they say is that...
Okay, hold on. If we do, in fact means he's already admitting he doesn't know. This is all nonsense. And I just went into the metrics for you guys. The average Tonight Show at that in 2013 got like 3.2 million, and then it went down further for Letterman, or vice versa, and then not Colbert, what's his name, Kimmel, and then Conan. They all kind of combined. I don't know if they had 10 million listeners watching late night TV. Okay, that's about it. So 10 million watchers instead. We did this Arbitron thing. We talked about it. Doesn't even have at this point. He doesn't even have 200,000 regular listeners per day. We know it's way less in 2020. It has to be.
Oh, you're being gracious.
I'm saying it has to. I believe if he has more than 50,000 regular listeners, I would be surprised per day.
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's so minimal as to be embarrassing. So he's going to go on and explain the wig math.
You can double that amount in terms of who listens, that the average family has 2 people listening to the radio. And if in fact we even have anywhere between 40 and 60% of those radios tuned to us, we beat all these guys. Do publicists know that? No. Do they believe it? No. Are we going to convince them? Yes. That's what we're doing in 2013. 23 million paying customers. And I'm going to say 60%. I don't know if that's exactly right, but that's what publicists should hear.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I love that. I don't know
this
if it's right.
This is just throw some double-digit numbers on the screen and just let's keep going. No need to check. Yeah, no need to check facts. I'm fucking not. That's not even a pie chart for what he's saying. By the way,
no, it's just some graphic he decided to throw in.
Yeah, it's clip art.
Yeah,
ridiculous. First of all, there's something so interesting about the fact back when he was super popular, I remember listening to, I think it was a special about him, and they said the listeners listened longer than anyone because they just wanted to hear what he had to say next, even if they hated or loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave the amount of time that they were listening, and the people who hated him listened longer than the people who loved him, which was actually really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave hard facts and numbers
Yes.
to those facets. Now, if that was when you were your most successful and you can track that so concretely, why the fuck are you even putting this up? I mean, just track it.
Well, the thing is, he knows how many listeners he has. At this point, he does know, and so does Sirius. And that's why I don't understand why they gave him that last contract in 2015. I don't understand why they gave him more money. I would have just cut him loose. But they didn't have a replacement. They needed some kind of figurehead. I don't know if they've found that yet. Like the anchor store in a mall. I've always said like Sears or I'm trying to think of an American equivalent. Like a grocery store, Price Chopper, I don't know, Costco, whatever. At the end, Costco's usually their own building. I know, bad analogy, guys. I don't live in the States. But something that draws people in for parking, and you walk through and you go buy something somewhere else. But they use that because, it's supposed to be a draw. And that's his draw. We've got Howard Stern. We got this. His name still at that point meant something. I get it. But now it means nothing. So if he does get re-signed, which a lot of people are asking us, do you think he's going to be? I don't think so. It'll just they've got his archives. They don't need him. Yes, Sam.
So if this was the strategy in 2013, there can't possibly be any way to re-sign him unless it's a significant pay cut, staff cut. I mean, it's gonna
Everything.
unless they're absolutely moronic.
Mm-hmm.
To have it ingrained in them, but they don't. So you fucking love Brad Pitt. Big deal. What good's that doing me?
Did you hear the laughter? Everybody got this graphic of Brad Pitt and Richard Christie. He's washed out, but they're laughing because, again, it's a gay angle. This shirtless picture of Brad Pitt and Richard
you
Christie
call
and a
that
heart.
laughing? I call that nervous. That's like
That's when
polite, nervous laughter. Like everybody's so in shock that they
Yeah.
see this and they're like, okay, I get to emote something right now. It's going to be some nervous titter, like some nervous pittering. And then it's like, you want to laugh at that? Well, guess what? It's not funny.
Well, not only that, but it's to me, it sounds like they all know their boss is a fucking panelero. That's for our Brazilian folks. That means fruit, and Portuguese. Now, that's you're right. It's nervous laughter, but it's also knowing nervous laughter. They know that this is insane. And this is getting up there. And the clip they see is strategy. Richard Christie writes a letter to Brad Pitt about Kansas. Brad Pitt, is he from Kansas?
I believe so. I don't know. Who gives a fuck? This is retarded.
What's a joke writer and a phony phone caller going to say to a fucking movie star
You
to
know
get him
what?
in?
Think about all the stalkers who've written fan letters.
Jodie Foster.
You think like
I shot Reagan. I'm
So
going to shoot
that's your-
Don Imus for you.
right? Like that's your approach?
Don Buchwald must have been with a cigar and fucking Courvoisier watching this, laughing his fucking ass off when he found out about it. He had to
Oh
have been.
God, I hope he got shithead drunk and just
If they ever wanted to roast him, just play this video. Just go to the Friars Club and show this video and sell
look
popcorn.
at this picture.
You said it on the air. Why don't you write him a letter? But of course, you're going to hand it into this core group of people, the strategists. But you're going to be major in getting me Brad Pitt on the air. And talk about how inspired you were when you were sitting in Kansas and you saw a guy from Kansas make it, that you were ridiculed because you had posters of Brad Pitt on your wall. You were ridiculed on our show. And that day that you started crying or something in the studio was phenomenal.
What he's talking about, guys, by the way, is something about Interview with the Vamp. He and his buddy were both fans of Brad Pitt or something, and they would, when they were living away from each other, they would watch a movie at the same time and be in different theaters and just kind of think about each other, which is already kind of gay in itself. And I mean, just wanting to watch a Brad Pitt film as a man. I'm sorry, Sam.
I get that. Like I have cousins who I'm really close with that anytime I'm flipping channels through TV and I see an Adam Sandler movie, we like know every line. I will start just texting them lines from the movie and we'll go back and forth for like half an hour with just straight movie lines. And it's amusing.
Well, yeah, but it's not like you're not going to cry over an Adam Sandler film.
No, not a fucking chance.
Send it to him. We got video. We have a television channel that records all of this. Brad Pitt should see that. And you should write him and say, Mr. Pitt, I need you to come in here and defend me.
I know, guys, I shouldn't laugh at
What a
his
cock-smoking moron.
And also, look at the juxtaposition of Wig right next to that picture of Brad Pitt. Could there be a more like more opposite example of opposite physiques?
He really looks like what happens when you have He looks like a cerebral palsy. Like, stand up for the first time. I'm going to heal you.
He's slouched over. This is like those old Charles Atlas ads where they'd have that kid in the beach getting sand kicked in his face. And then muscle guy, like, look at this Charles Atlas course. I can look like this and I'll knock the bully out.
I want you on the show. And our core group of strategists are going to get that letter to him.
Okay, go ahead.
My favorite, there's a couple of favorites I have in Thriller. But when I watch that video and I see them like just coming out of the grave.
Yeah. There's the one with the blood,
what looks
black blood coming
like
out of his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does.
Coming out of the manhole. Yeah. No pun intended.
Look at what we have at our disposal. Think about it. We have a complete archive of memorabilia, of newscasters saying...
Memorabilia? What's the memorabilia? That's not a draw. Look, you can... Brad Pitt, if you come in, you can actually use the Jackie puppet.
Look at our archives. We have...
We have private parts air fresheners.
Oh my God. I
Dennis,
mean, seriously.
Dennis DeMarco has an archive bigger than Wigs. He's a buddy on our Facebook page. He's helping us out with some older clips. He's amazing. Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
In the beginning, he also said, or he's going to say, get rid of all of our Jeff the Drunk Whack Pack pictures, change everything. But now it's, look at all of our archives. Look what we have. Okay, we're going to edit them all out and play only things from 2015 and up going forward, but fine.
Yeah, exactly.
How, by the way, he just said write a letter to Brad Pitt. So why?
Fan letter. Write it in blood.
Make it mean something. Come on that letter.
And forget our Howard 100 News for a second. I'm talking about the video archive contains video of newscasters around the country. Whenever we do something great or something wild or something about a celebrity, it gets on the news. Can you imagine a publicist receiving a bunch of those edited together?
Can you imagine someone receiving an email from a J.D. Harmeyer saying Howard was mentioned at a baseball game in Missouri or whatever the fuck?
I was just going to say, send them a donut of Baba Booey every golf game.
Which, totally happens now at the U.S. at the fucking, at the Masters. It's not. Yeah, in Happy Gilmore, he thinks he is Happy Gilmore at this point. He thinks he's that. He's got that kind of idolatry cheering him on.
Donut. Today, so and so was on the show, and boom, 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 boom. Whoa, what's going on with the Howard Stern show? I get these
Beth
videos.
crushes in a bikini. What's going on? She took a picture with her frumpy ass in a cat suit. Whoa!
Seeing them. We have newscasters around the country talking about the Howard Stern show. Even when Howard Stern signs with America's Got Talent, it was major news. Let the publicists see how important that is. We have an articles archive. We can pull and make these pamphlets up, these email blasts. If people would go into the archives,
Your face right now.
What's that? Oh, you're looking at my face.
You look so quizzical.
I'm just staggered. I'm staggered at the stupidity and the level of the level of the lack of awareness in a human being. Articles, clips from private parts, clips from a movie you did at this point, 16 years earlier. That bombed, essentially. You really don't want to have anything to do with it. You refuse to do the bonus DVD extras, whatever, because you're not going to get fucking paid for it. That's how proud you are of that film. Yes, Sam.
And burn the book that originated the movie.
The thing that inspired the movie. Absolutely. TV shows. What TV shows? He appears in every now and then when he has to plug something on Letterman or back in the day, or just that was it. I mean, you wouldn't see him do SNL. He wasn't doing characters on Mad TV.
Let's send Brad Pitt a video of Howard TV Wayne high-pitched Eric's shit. It'll get him right on.
This stuff and organizes it with Chris. We have, what a great clip from Private Parts. Remind people that it was out there. Part of the video presentation that Howard TV should be putting together includes the movie Private Parts, a little something to be broadcasting into the various guests we have, into the various TV shows around the country talking about us. You know, recently I was watching a tape, Rachel Ray sitting there. I was listening to the Howard Stern show this morning and I heard Kevin Bacon on there and blah, blah, blah. Whoa! That's hundreds of thousands of dollars of advertising for Kevin Bacon.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars of advertising. Like the numbers are fucked up. Hold on for a sec. Go ahead.
I have never heard of anyone who even watches Rachel Ray in 2013. And where is he drawing these figures from?
Also, why is he using he's a multimillionaire, but he's using hundreds of thousands of dollars of advertising as if that's an incentive to people who are also worth millions of dollars.
Exactly.
And he can't also actually explain that number. And number one, first of all, it's lowballing it. The even in his own film, guys, they must have spent. Okay, we did the breakdown. If they spent something like 20, I think the film cost 28 million for Private Parts. They had to have done at least 15 million worth of promotion to promote that fucking film, because it was in every newspaper. Every major newspaper in North America had a huge like fold out like double spread ad, whatever, when it was coming out. And TV ads, whatever, and that's okay. That's a lot of money on advertising. Nothing you do in the Howard Stern show in 2013, 2012, 2014 is ever going to get millions of dollars worth of publicity. It's just not.
You're gonna be 100,000-aire.
Yeah, exactly. So it's asinine. Newscasts, and this one I don't understand. Sorry, guys, the little mouse action here. Newscasts of 20 diff people, Rachel Ray, Kevin Bacon, strung together for effect. So I guess what he's really trying to say is get 20 clips of people mentioning his name in a loop and send that to people as some kind of thing that I'm happening.
Yeah, he said worldwide. I'm like, I don't think anyone from another country even knows you're alive anymore.
Dude, we have love in Indonesia and Belgium.
Maybe, you know what?
Right.
Maybe the sheiks from the harem Beth came from are big fans.
You think the UAE's a huge fan of the show?
Wendy Williams on a regular basis. I was listening to my friend Howard, and he said this to so-and-so. This goes on day and night. Us Magazine almost every week quotes something from our show. That should be lifted and turned into a PR piece. Come on.
I've never seen someone someone hitting a lectern for less impact than he's doing right now. It's almost like, I don't know, he's like Baryshnikov.
And he's lying. He always does. He had Grillo used to go through all the publications, even pre-internet, that he was on, and make copies of those articles and put them into a binder and put them into a folder. So he's been doing this already for years. So there's no way that this is even true.
No.
He has all of that.
He does, yeah, exactly.
Come on. Look at the news we're making here from satellite, and these guys who are in control of these guests don't spend a minute thinking about us. So your boyfriend, Rush Limbaugh, you're passionate about him.
He's not.
Okay, but you enjoy it.
If I were Scott DePace, I'd get up, I'd bum rush the stage, fucking punch him in the face, rip his wig off, and say, I'm fucking done. Presentation over, motherfucker. Peace. Just walk out.
ST in the house. Now, this is the funny part. So he's addressing Scott. Okay, Scott DePace was an Howard TV guy. What pull does he have to get anybody on the fucking show outside of his bowling league?
I don't know. Richard Christie's love letters are going to get Brad Pitt on the show. He's a delusional retard.
Well, the other thing is, and you're talking about Rush Limbaugh, your boyfriend, you're one to talk, you fucking fruit. And the other thing is, Get Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh he's still, I know he's dying. He's got cancer. He's terminal. I don't know how much more time he has left, probably a year or less than a year. He's not looking very good. At this point in 2013, Limbaugh is still getting way more listeners, like millions more listeners than Wiggy. So the idea that he bitched and moaned and fucking railed against Limbaugh for so many years, and now he's desperate to get that kind of coverage by interviewing him is pathetic. And it's hypocritical. If the staff in there, like, you fucking mocked this guy for how long and claimed he stole everything from you and all this shit, and now you want him on your show? Fuck you. What show am I working for? Turnaround Radio?
If anybody even listens to Limbaugh, which I rarely do, I've listened to a couple of things. He is a completely different animal than Stern. He's a political pundit, boisterous conservative. It has nothing to do with Stern.
Right. So I don't quite get the gist of it. So
you are the guy who says, I'm the lone conservative voice on the show. In a sea of liberals, Mr. Limbaugh, I want you to know I've been fighting the good fight. What dramatic radio would be if Rush Limbaugh showed up on our show? It will make news all over the place. More news, sales for Howard TV, ensuring your job, sales for Sirius Radio.
Did you catch that? Ensuring your job.
Ensuring your jobs, but also sales for Howard TV. One appearance of Rush Limbaugh. No one's going to subscribe to fucking Howard TV, pay out of pocket for extra money to see something that, well, I mean, no one cares. I mean, that he's going to be on Howard's show. It's not news. It's not like the fucking, I don't know. It's not like Apollo meets Rocky, part number 2. He's just at this point like a fish out of water, going like, I need water. I need to get back in the water. I need to get back in the water. I need hard numbers. And Sirius, even though they do have hard numbers, it's not even close to the actual terrestrial numbers. And what I think that he doesn't realize is, again, something we sort of discussed during the Private Parts breakdown. When he has 15 million listeners, when he was on terrestrial radio, or however many, 20 million listeners in the East Coast. When they released Private Parts, the presumption was all these 20 million listeners are going to pay $5 to see my movie. But they listen to you for free. They don't have to pay for your show. They presumed that it was going to be a hit movie based on the number of listeners mistakenly. They should not have assumed that. You should have assumed we're only going to get a quarter of those listeners, because nobody pays for radio at that point. And then when you're going to Sirius, they're going to pay $12.99 a month to listen to me. Some did, but most said no, it's not worth it. I don't pay for radio. I listen to radio. It's free. So
and I'm looking too, like, at articles. I just Googled like Rush Limbaugh ratings.
Okay.
And one came up and it said WMAL, home to Rush Limbaugh and Mark Levin, take number 1 in Washington market.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's still doing numbers on terrestrial radio that actually have a rating. Millions.
Yeah. Yeah, millions, absolutely. Now, it is politics, okay? It's not entertainment, I get it, but that's the whole point is listeners. It's not what your format is. So, at this point, desperately going after Rush Limbaugh to get him on your show, it's just pathetic. It really is like a sad come down.
And great radio for us, ensuring all our jobs. You should be marketing that campaign. Mr. Limbaugh, I can't fight this fight alone. It would be legendary radio if you came on the Howard Stern show. What do you say? Let's plant the seed. Could be great. I would love to interview Rush Limbaugh. It would be great.
Rush. How big's your cock? Tell me. Did your dad pay attention to you? Did you get into politics because your mother was depressed?
Love it. And then more media attention, more blasts out to publicists, and we become the place that not only is talked about, but that becomes the place that publicists, management, they know who we are. They're getting all of this information. They're like, hey, maybe we should go on the Howard Stern show and take a chance.
What's the big takeaway? No one knows who we are anymore. That's what I'm hearing. That's the constant thread stitching all of these little PowerPoint bullets together, like all these slides. No one knows who we are. We are irrelevant. I don't know that if I felt that for real, I would have something like this together. I think I would just kind of have to accept it if I'm him. I think it would be too embarrassing to be in front of all my staff and say, we got to make ourselves relevant again. Because you can't at that point.
And even when you know that there's blood in the water and you can you can sense it right now, the sharks are swimming, there's blood in the water.
Sure.
You will sense it even more as this goes on because he gets more and more pathetic. He actually says, I think we're done. And that eventually, and that is, you can sum this up. I mean, we're going to do this just because it matters for our fans. But I truly think that you're right. The summation of all this is just it's really an SOS drowning fucking.
It's a eulogy.
Yeah,
it really pathetic. Is like this is like a dying note from someone who's in the convalescent care, and it's embarrassing. I mean, I don't know who could have defended this, but people did. There were people all over Reddit saying, I don't see the problem with this. This is, he's trying to inspire the troops. You have to be working for the show to say that because there's nothing about this that's correct. There's nothing about it.
Not only them, it was Jim and Sam too. They said, I don't see the problem in it. He's just trying to, he's working on a higher level. He's just trying to inspire the troops. He's just trying to get them motivated. Yeah. You didn't listen to the whole thing. And if you did, you wouldn't be saying that.
Jim and Sam, that lounge chair that they've set up Stern's ass must be really comfortable because I would never, you couldn't pay me to fucking defend this. You just couldn't. I'd have to say there's no defense aesthetically. To take away your bias, you can't defend this fucking clip.
No, if you listen to this for real, you would never say the things that they were saying.
No, and if you were neutral, if you didn't know who he was, you'd still be embarrassed for him. Like you would be embarrassed on so many levels. Anyway.
Here's your letter. Take these maniacs on with me. Send a short video of your classic arguments. Yeah. I love when you get on and you argue passionately.
Why should Rush give a fuck about Scott DePace in general, much less a clip of DePace arguing right-wing politics on the Stern Show, which is not a political show?
Again, this is just like the Kansas fan letter from Richard Christie. Who knows who the fuck these people are?
Right.
What is it, a special stamp? I mean...
He's actually about, 5 minutes away from saying, okay, Gary, I want you to take a gun, put it on Jackson's head and say, Rush, if you don't come on the show, the kid gets it. This is how desperate he's getting, like a hostage situation.
Rush Limbaugh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sal, I want you to get naked, put some fucking shit in your foreskin, and pull it out on camera and say, Rush, come on the show.
What's it? Guess what's in my sack or whatever. What was it called? Guess what's in the pouch. I forgot that. Jesus.
Come on, you better know important games.
We know what's in his sack.
There's my angle. I'm going to come in and defend Scott DePace after all these years. What great radio.
He doesn't know who the fuck DePace is. He doesn't listen. Why would he listen to a show that trashed him his entire life? And why would he care to come on? What's the payoff? What's Rush getting out? That's the bottom line, dude. What's the payoff for Rush doing your show? Nothing.
No, but here's the payoff. If Rush watches this, he looks like a sad marionette in The Sound of Music coming down. Yodelay, hee-hoo.
Sound of Music making its second appearance on this show.
And guess what? You got a job. Howard TV is going to be around because I don't give a fuck what anyone says. If people start hearing that Rush Limbaugh is on there, they'll want to see it.
Okay, so he knows already. We said we think he has an idea that Howard TV is going. We both know from that. Now he's dangled their jobs in front of their faces now 3 times during this 35 minutes or so, and so he knows they're going. He knows they're not coming back. He has to, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm so intimidated by this tough talk too.
And imagine if you're the Howard TV guys and you know your contract's going to be up at the expiring at the end of the year, whatever, or it maybe already has. I can't remember 2000. Yeah, I think it's going to. And then he's dangled this in front of your face, like if you guys don't get Rush Limbaugh, you're gone. The fucking Howard TV is gone, and you're out of a job. How's this going to motivate you? First thing you're going to do is put a
they have
fucking CV
kids.
together. Yeah.
They have families who they actually live with.
Wish my favorite staff photo of a staff member with their kid is DePace with the cigar and his kid. He's holding and there's a cloud of smoke. That might be my favorite of all time.
Going back, I don't mean to pick on you, Mike, but again, I was on your Facebook page.
Time out. I told Sam was like, I have to be full disclosure, guys. Sam yesterday would message me and said, like, I so don't want to fucking do the end of this. I don't want to do the last part of this. And I understand what she means because it's like an albatross. We promised we were going to do this, and it's not that we didn't want to originally. We did think it would be a good idea, and I know it's a good idea, but it's just like this last. It's like the last 5K of a marathon where you're just going,
I wouldn't know
kill
what
me.
the fuck that feels like.
kill me now, right? And that's what it is. But then I told her I skimmed through it ahead, and I forgot about this part where he superimposed High-Pitch Mike's head on a Superman, and he's got Ricky Martin next to him. Ricky Martin, who hadn't been relevant in, like, I don't know, 13 years, but he's on. It's like, hey, let's get back to faggotry, Mike. We got. Like, that's what this is. It's like, before we go to drift too far into the politics, let's get back to homo. So here we go with High-Pitch Mike, who seems to get so much play in this. Bowie must be jealous. Why don't I get them the gay action?
Writing, and if you have a lot of passion for gay issues, Michael Jackson, Madonna, and I love that passion.
Michael Jackson never came out of the closet. If he in fact was gay. I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, Jesus, there's a lot of evidence for the prosecution, but why did he bring up Michael Jackson?
I don't even know if he is a child molester or not. What the fuck is he talking about?
Right, all of a sudden he's gay. He's been outed.
Put that passion into the show, which I know you do, but amp it up this year, 2013. Write campaigns. Think about guests.
Come on, Fruity. Step it up. Step it up.
If I fucking swear to God, Fillmore, I hope as I'm reading this ugly, fonted, disgusting, block lettered bullshit, High-Pitch Mike in the title, I hope it was him that leaked this. I pray that he has these pieces of tape and someday part 2 will come out. High-Pitch Mike,
yeah,
we see you. We love you. We speak your name.
Yes, and by the way, yeah, and this is also, incidentally, if there are any ex-staffers that want to get to us anonymously, you know how to do it. And we will guarantee your anonymity, first of all. But unless you don't want to, unless you don't care. In case like Richie, he said people are going to suspect it was me because we sent him a bunch of questions, which he so graciously answered. He didn't mind. He just wanted, his little disclaimer out there that he was just trying to answer the questions as best as he could. If anybody wants to, because we're going to be doing a couple shows in the future, which we won't talk about just yet, but they're going to be based on inside intel. And that's as much as I'll say right now. And because normally a lot of what we do is conjecture. I mean, all we're doing is doing breakdowns of this. The idea that High-Pitch Mike didn't just get up and leave after this part, like the Lana Wachowski is already bad enough. Second time in one presentation where he's going, "Hey, listen, you're a fucking fruit. Why don't you get a little more gay? And why don't you get fucking, I don't know, Mark Almond to come on? Why don't you get goddamn I don't know. I was gonna say Paul Lind. I'm running out of gay icons.
Yeah, Lance Bass. I heard he came out.
Exactly. Just because you're gay, that's going to be the approach. Go after the gay people. Like you're a gay representative.
Dick too. I'm a bottom. You're a top. Let's get together and go on the show. I mean, what the fuck?
Ricky Martin.
By the way,
yeah, go ahead.
Can I finish the Richie Wilson thing too? Because we didn't.
Was there another one?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
So Richie, since we're going on this, and I just want to finish it up, I asked him a couple more questions with G. Wilson from Howard TV. I said, Beth always seems like a total star fucker and beard in my eyes. How did she treat the staff, and what does she think of Marcy? ? Also, did anyone find it weird she never had friends? ? And Richie Wilson said, by the way, I love this answer, Beth is always hailed as a saint. I was told by 2 people, wait till you see the real Beth. She was okay with some staff. Others she really didn't interact with. From what I was told, she is not a Marcy fan. We got into a spat on Facebook, and I told her to fuck off and deleted her after I was saying what a horrible person Joan Rivers was. Beth was defending her, and I said Joan was only nice to other celebrities and to the starfuckers who married them. That didn't sit well with her. After getting things done, Gary, Ross, and Howard seemed to stop doing dinners together and fun things going out. Didn't Ross? Oh, I'm sorry. So that's the Beth part where he said he told her to fuck off because Joan was only nice for celebrities, and that didn't sit well with Beth. So that ended the communication between Beth and Richie Wilson on any social media.
Okay.
Then I asked him, after getting things done, Gary, Ross, and Howard seemed to stop doing dinners together, fun things, going out. Did Ross ever discuss the changes with you? I'm talking about Ross Zapin.
Yeah.
Because he just kind of seemed to disappear out of nowhere. Like he was involved for so much, and then all of a sudden, nothing.
Yeah, unceremoniously, you never heard from Ross anymore for some reason, and I'm trying to. I'll consider it later and see if that can come up with some reason. But one of the things was the Bubba. There was this speculation that Ross fucked Heather, and that Tony Burton, I believe, like one of Buchwald's agents, had the tape and was threatening to go to release it or something. Or he was involved in the Hulk Hogan stuff, but Heather was clearly just a pincushion for people to fucking stick it into when they had nothing else better to do. But there was some, and Bubba was on the show talking about that. And there was, I think Ross, according to the Serious Mole, Serious Problem, the Reddit Mole, may have done her. Anyway, go ahead. And there might be video out of it. Go ahead.
Oh, so I said, didn't Ross ever discuss the changes with you? He said, I didn't ever have any interaction with Ross. He's a dick. And I wanted to stab him the first time I met him.
Yeah, I remember this story.
And then I asked him about the casino outing with Dominic Barbara, Booker, and Zapin. And I asked him about that, and he said he had no clue about what was said between the guys and Booker and Beth. Do you remember that? The casino boating trip. It was with Artie, Dominic. They all took Dominic's boat to the Mohegan Sun, and they all ended up getting in a gigantic fight. And words were said about Beth. Words were said about Linda Lopez, and nobody specified what that was about. So I asked Richie Wilson, and he said no clue. No clue.
Well, that could very well be. I mean, if Richie says that, I'll go with that. But somebody out there knows something. Those guys. There's nothing. There's no fucking stone left unturned, and they're gossip mongers, a bunch of them. So somebody out there knows something, and a lot of people probably know it.
I love that he told Beth to fuck off and said that basically, Joan Rivers only nicer because she's Howard's wife.
Well, he wasn't the only one. Artie went on the air and said, "I don't like Joan Rivers because she comes in and she's got the eagle eyes for Robin and Howard, but never says hi to Fred, never said hi to Artie, never." And yes, she was absolutely a social climbing. I like Joan. I had no problem with her. But if I were one of those guys, yeah, if I were one of the people in the studio and she treated me like that, I'd think she was a cunt too, because it costs nothing to just say hi and be friendly and stuff, even if you're there to go see Howard. Big deal. So anyway, let's try to get through this.
Every one of us. So I get a letter from Ratso the other day, the guy who worked on my book with me, and he says, I'm writing a book with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, the guy whose books you work with, that you claim you want everybody to burn and that you won't mention anymore, Ratso, that guy. By the way, Benjamin got in touch with Ratso and told him outright, said, what do you think about this quote that Howard wants to burn his books? And he said, Ratso messaged him back, said, I don't believe it. And he said, I've got the audio. Would you like to hear it? And he said, well, he couldn't believe it, or something. It was something along the lines of
he didn't
maybe he was just joking.
Respond back, I think, after the audio.
Maybe that was
right?
it. Maybe that was it. But can you imagine that? All the work you would have done to fucking get this guy's shitty words on print just by having to go through transcripts.
The fastest selling book of all time.
Yeah. Horseshit.
And I immediately get on the phone to Gary. I go, Gary, let's book Mike Tyson because Ratso says Mike Tyson wants to come on the show. We've heard this before. Gary calls, long story short, okay, Mike wants to do the show in a couple of months. We've heard this before. So he's sort of booked. It sort of looks good. And I can sort of tell you that it ain't going to happen.
Go ahead, Sam.
What the fuck is that graphic? I can't wait to see you.
That is literally, I think Benjamin did the research for this, and he went on Google Images and he typed, "I can't wait to see you," and it was one of the first images that came up.
Oh, okay.
That was literally what he wanted to find, something out there, which he couldn't put himself in a selfie and then like write with his finger on his screen. Like
it
on
literally
a smartphone.
looks like a QAnon human trafficking like meme.
Greetings from Bulgaria. We got 14-year-old girls from Bulgaria ready to ship out at a moment's notice. Like a dating site for underage fucking pervs. We don't stop.
You know
when we
what?
book them.
Maybe we'll get so many more views. All these QAnon people are going to start looking for symbols in this bullshit.
The dark net. Dark web, whatever it's called. Also, we don't stop when we book them. When we have Mike Tyson book, we send touch points to stay fresh in their mind. It's like, see, he basically he's trying to angle for people to be like Spade. Come back every 3 months.
But ask them the same things every time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because what's going to happen is they're going to start to plan his tour. And Good Morning America is going to say they want him, or somebody's going to say they want him. And this one's going to want him, and that one's going to want him. And what's going to happen is, we don't need to do the Stern Show.
I would so love to be one of Howard's writers, writing the questions when he interviews Tyson and have a bunch of SH words for him and then give them to Mike Tyson as well and just have a battle of his pulses with some men with, I'll fuck you till you love me, faggot. And then have Howard going, listen, Mike, you're stupendous fighting style. With those caps. Say microwave, Howard.
We should have Artie. We should send, you know what? Why isn't anyone sending clips of Artie imitating Mike Tyson?
I used to love that. I love when he imitated Tyson.
When someone says they are interested, when we put this core team together, which will happen in a few weeks, when someone says they're interested in coming on our show and it looks pretty good, that's when the campaign begins. We say, great, can't wait to see you, looking forward to it. By the way, did you know we just had this one on? Here's our donut tape that HTV put together. Here's the pamphlets that we now have that Sirius helped us with their art department.
And these Mormons that have come to your door knocking with literature? Go ahead. Yes.
Do you think this was the core team for Blockbuster Video, too? I mean, what a moron.
Be kind. Please rewind.
Can't wait to see you. We have a date, blah, 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 blah. Pound them with how many books we've sold. So these guys go, we gotta fucking get there. Don't let them forget. Once you got a fish on the hook, don't let it off the hook.
I'm still fascinated with that microphone that's right at his torso. It's like, my belt has something to say. I'm
so bored with him. I just want to have like a gif of like a wrestler jumping on stage and like, let's make Howard do some sort of like...
I've had lecture profs put people to sleep sooner than this, but not much sooner. And at this point in this, like if there's a seminar, if there's a lecture class, I would be tuned out. I'd be getting a vending machine. I'd be getting like fucking Coke or something, because the staff at this point, they're probably on their phones, even though he's told them not to be. But you know that there's some asshole like trying to act like he's tying his shoe, but texting people down below, like so Howard can't see. And they're passing around messages.
What nerve of him to even ask them to get off your phone for what? Do you think we're missing something?
Exactly. I want news stories on how much success these people get after doing our show. This should be 50% of your focus. What's the other 50%?
I really right now I just want Jigglypuff to like start slamming into his head in Super Smash Brothers. Like I just fucking hate him right now.
And what's this character here? It looks like a maitre d' from a fucking Bugs Bunny cartoon. And then this season's greetings. some Christmas meme, and then number one, like this is the worst clip art shit on the planet. I don't know where he got this together, how he got this together, and how he thought this looked good. Unbelievable. Oh, I think it was Ken McKenna. It may have been him, but it was somebody on possibly the YouTube channel. They believe the reason why Gary was so stressed was because he was the one that had to put together the PowerPoint. I don't believe it. I think it's all Howard.
I don't know, but I think this is very Howard-esque.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing Gary could. Well, I know Gary could fuck up. You're a fucking Adelphi grad. I think that it's too Howardy to beat Bowie. Bowie's not smart enough to write like Howard and do the same fuck ups. He has his own unique fuck ups.
He graduated from college, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And you know, my God, the news department. When we have successes, I want you crowing about it. You are our propaganda arm.
Propaganda.
So not only are you going to be working with our core team.
What? Yeah, propaganda arm. Does he know?
We'll also put it on the radio.
First of all, that's not a word you should be ever using in a fucking presentation. Propaganda.
Not if you're Jewish. I mean, are you out of your fucking mind? Does he even remember the propaganda arm of World War II, which he crows about constantly?
He shouldn't be using it in any way, shape, or form for any reason, because the other thing, of course, it implies that the information you're giving is not necessarily true. I mean, it's
this
bullshit.
Is scary.
Yeah, it is actually propaganda.
And after we put it on the radio, we're going to cut up those pieces and send them to management and publicists. My vision for 2013, an A-list guest a week.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so on this lower level of nothingness in front of us, we have this propaganda idea that he has that we're going to push this propaganda. Now, think about the level he's at. If he's thinking about pushing this fakeness and propaganda for self-preservation, this makes me think about, even on a larger scale, if he is pushing this, is this what, like, all media is? Do they like ascribe to be this? If he's going in this direction, what is pushing him in this direction to push propaganda?
Desperation. I mean, it has to be like the whole thing is that false self we discussed with Bob D. And by the way, everybody, shameless plug, we'll be recording another narcissistic personality disorder episode soon with Bob D. as soon as we can get our schedules together. And we got some great clips. And if there's a false self, okay, he thinks he's this, he thinks he's all that. But he inherently, and we talked about this in the first episode of this, he knows he's not that. He knows that it's all bullshit. So now he's going with the narrative of, okay, guys, we all know this is horseshit, but this is what I want you to promote. Promote this fucking Studebaker as if it's a fucking Porsche 911.
It's actually a little jarring to think at this low level of nothingness, his choice is to be to make fake news, for a lack of a better word.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's perfectly acceptable. He's perfect. It's perfectly acceptable to him, a person of his stature at this point in time, because the media still thinks, 90 million a year, 100 million a year, all this. They have these numbers that kind of roll around and make you think he's a bigger deal than he actually is. You, the super fan, me, the super fan or ex-super fan, as the case may be, know that his draw, his appeal, his numbers are all down. So when they do these numbers, whatever, they don't actually confirm to see if these numbers make any sense. The media is just lazy, and no one does their due diligence anymore. No one knows what's correct and what isn't. He's assuming you're too stupid to figure out that I'm full of shit.
Which is scary, because he sits there and he harasses and criticizes people every day in his current platform about being full of shit. And how can you say that when you're having a whole presentation basically saying we're going to be full of shit and here's how we're going to do it?
Absolutely. Yep.
2 B-list guests a week, and this is how we're going to do it. I mentioned this to some people. You got to think like, it's the Howard Stern show I work for. How do we get the word out? So set up a fake Twitter account. Become 10 different people. I don't give a shit. And then when our core team says to you, we want to get Lady Gaga on the show, they announce it on Moldred, and all of a sudden, Lady Gaga, I'm telling you, every celebrity reads their Twitter stuff. Every celebrity starts getting just random things from fans. Hey, when are you going to do the Howard Stern show? We want you on the show. And they're getting all this publicity material, and they're getting bombarded, and it works.
Okay.
This scares me now more than ever because take this from 2013. We're in 2020. Twitter has now become such a force in so many conversations. And so when you're reading something like this where it says, we're going to create a false self and we are going to shove this propaganda out onto this platform and it's not going to be fact checked and people are just going to repeat the propaganda that we're putting out onto news sites who are reporting it to other news sites and they are not even doing their due diligence. Like they said, this is not only for this low level of the Stern Show, this is for everything. And this right here is a scarier lesser piece of the larger effect of what Twitter has become. So this is scary to me now, not just because of how pathetic it is. If we're a Stern Show aside, Twitter has become this platform for people's voices that generate trending topics that then generate articles that piggyback on pretty much everything in media. It's become such a force. So when you look at this and say, we're going to put some bullshit propaganda up and we're going to make fake Twitter accounts and we're going to do this, think about what people do in such a larger scale, but similar. That's how, to me, this is a scary kind of pull back the curtain effect of what Twitter can possibly do. Obviously, it didn't do it for him because he's a moron and his wife doesn't even know how to use hashtags, for fucking Christ's sake. Hashtag good night, God bless. But you see what I'm saying?
Before Jehovah's Witness, they bang on the door. We got to bang on people's doors. They're forgetting about us. And I'm pissed. Okay. So we're going to have a core team. It's going to be about 6 or 7 people who are going to head this up. They're going to meet weekly. But everyone in this room, I'm telling you, is responsible for involvement, pitching guests, and strategizing. It's up to us. If we don't do this, I think we're in trouble.
Okay, go ahead.
Picture if this was like some sort of military I don't know,
war room.
Yeah, some sort of planning, and the core team is like the upper echelon. They'd be killed in 2 seconds. Are you kidding? The core team, the Navy SEALs of Howard.
Yeah, this is them picturing how to try to figure out how to invade Sicily. Oh, I think we better attack.
We're done. We're going to be done.
We're going to be done.
If you don't write those letters.
So the month of February, I think back then it would have been like a bit of a vacation month for whatever reason. Like they might have had a week off or something like that, because why would you start a month later all this bullshit about core team meeting weekly? Why would you wait so long? Why wouldn't you institute that like lickety split?
Well, I sent you that stuff about how it was beginning to get integrated after this meeting, which was incredibly, I went and researched. I mean, I can't believe this is my life. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm going through every conversation, everything. And I go, oh my God, I'm sending you this stuff. And you're like, this is great. This is great. And I'm like thinking to myself, I could be sleeping.
But this wasn't done for certain books out there that are historical.
The meeting's going to start March 1st, 12 p.m. with this core team. And they're going to be calling on you. And they're going to be telling you what they need. This is what this team's going to have. You will be having call clinics. What does that mean? That means when we start making calls, We're all going to sit in. We're going to hear what they have to say.
That sounds like telemarketers. Your boss monitoring you to make sure you're not fucking with the people you're calling. This team will have call clinics, weekly publicist lunches. I don't think so. Who's paying for that? Actively pursuing A-list guests with tracking brainstorming sessions. Outreach campaigns based on industry. Outreach to be tracked. What in the fucking name of Christ?
We're going to have weekly publicist lunches, touching people, looking at people, pitching people, and whining and dining them.
Sam has found something we were looking for.
So exactly about 2 months after this, on March 18th, 2013, from this meeting, Howard came back and went right to the phones. And Howard took a call from a guy who said he's been looking forward to this special that's on tonight. And he said he wishes that they'd have more show-related stuff on the channels. He said he was bummed when Back Office Radio wasn't on last week.
Mm-hmm.
Howard said that was his doing. He said he won't say it's canceled, but they have too many guys working here on too many shows. Howard said the show is on hiatus right now. He said it takes a lot to work to put the shows on the air, and they needed more time for his show. The caller asked about Superfan Roundtable getting another hour. Howard said that's up to Tim. He said if he decided to get or to go another hour, he'd be fine with that. The caller said he loved Back Office Radio. Howard's, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, and he said, Howard said they are good. He said they'll get back to them about this, but they have too much stuff to do right now. And basically, he said everyone wants a radio show, but then he doesn't have them working here for that.
Yep, absolutely. And what we're going to play after this is done, I've got a clip of the aforementioned Kevin Undergaro talking about what Steve Brandano told him about the new way things are being run at the Stern Show. This would have been 2015, but it applies to this because it's post-summit, of course.
We will.
Sorry, you were going to say.
So I just remember listening to the show at the time and thinking the same thing as the caller, what's happening.
Exactly.
And I feel like here's the fill in the spaces. So here's what you missed in case you didn't realize what happened.
Yes.
Now it all makes sense.
Now, yes, absolutely. You start piecing it together. Basically, in a nutshell, they were all eliminated because the whole focus was going to be Wiggy. They were all going to be working on making his brand, blah, blah, blah. And you'll hear it all in the rest of this, especially when he gets into that ridiculous merchandising pitch.
Actively pursue A-list guests with tracking. So I'm not just talking a good game. There will be systems in place to track what you've done. Have you helped this effort? Have you really made some sort of contribution? Well, I'm going to get a sheet. It's just like with Muldren. On the monologue stuff, I get a sheet. I know who writes the most jokes. I know whose jokes I use. I'm going to know everything about our business.
So what he's basically saying is that if I use more of your stuff, I'm using more of your stuff. He doesn't say you're going to get remunerated for being. It's not like I'll pay you. You'll get an extra $25 for every joke of yours I read. You're going to get this much. They're salaried employees. They're going to get as much as they're going to get, and if they don't want to work extra, they're still going to get paid. As long as they have to do the bare minimum, that's what he's basically saying. I'll keep track of who's doing what. We're going to monitor you now to make sure you're not fucking around. But what kind of atmosphere are you creating when you're not incentivizing anybody? You're just putting fear into them. They're just going to look for other work, which is what so many of them ended up doing. Sorry, did you find something else there, Sam?
Well, it's also the side job things too. So Gary and John Hine at the time had this show on VH1 Classics about vinyl.
Yes.
And Howard got so butthurt about them even having that show, not understanding that show, that
he was shitting on it.
He was shitting on it. So from like 2713, after the break, John said they were talking about the state of the station. He said he wasn't sure where Howard was going with it. He said he asked Tim about the mission statement, and Tim didn't know about it. Gary said he thinks Howard knew that Tim wouldn't know what it was, so that's why he asked. Like, so there's clear after this meeting, Tim's being phased out.
Marginalized, yep.
Gary and John's show on VH1 is basically being told, you want this job, you get the fuck off that show you're doing.
Absolutely.
I'm number one.
Yep, absolutely. And so no more back office radio, no more geek time. A lot of the shows, Riley Martin passed away eventually, and that would be, I don't think his show lasted anymore. And it was all Sternthology. It was all just Stern, and that was it. Stupid. And I think Greg Fitzsimmons' show, once in a while, once in a blue moon.
Nothing will escape me. So this team will have brainstorming sessions, outreach campaigns based on whatever industry that person happens to be in. If it's, we're gonna tailor to that person's industry. If they're selling a book, if they're selling a record, we will tailor make that campaign, and the outreach will be tracked. We will know when the last time is that we approached Lady Gaga.
Shouldn't you fucking know that anyway? You've got people taking pictures of every appearance when they come in, and you put it on your fucking stupid website. How hard is
Go
that?
to marksfriggin.com. You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything will be tracked. So if you're not doing your job, I'll know. So this is what the chart's going to look like. Who do we want? How do we pitch them? When did we pitch them? And when are we going to touch them again?
Okay. What is this, the Sea Org?
That's what I don't understand. Org chart. Okay, organization chart, fine. But yeah, that's the first thing I think. Scientology, Sea Org.
Who are we going to touch next? I don't.
If you're Marcy, let's just keep going. But if you're Marcy, you touch all the B's. Brandano first, and then Ben Bardo.
Put together. We'll track that way. I want Tom Cruise.
Never getting him.
When's the last time you pitched him?
Don't bother.
When did we touch base with his management?
ORG, Orthopedic Retard Geezer.
That's great. I knew there had to be an acronym in there somewhere. Okay.
This is something that came to me in a dream. 2013 Handbook of Success.
What is he, Einstein?
He's Martin Luther Thing. 2013 Handbook of Success. Make sure you carry your little Mao red book with you. So we would track success from being on show. Impossible to track, guys. Sorry. The only thing you could do if someone came in and did a record, you could see on SoundScan. Did it jump a week later? Did it jump in sales? That's how you could track.
Or you could track,
or a movie.
Because when people used to go on the Stern Show, there would be an E-News blurb about it, or there would be a tabloid article about it, or people at your work would talk about, did you hear who was on Stern today? That all went away because you took the paycheck.
Yeah, and not only that, and this is the other thing, guys, and we're going to try to get through this as fast as possible. If you did a list of the stars who came in, who arguably A-list, whatever, but they had projects that were failures, you can trace them to this show. And almost none of the Avengers came in when they were promoting Avengers shit. None of the major stars who had stuff coming in ever came in to promote something that was going to be a success. So it's second to last swirl down the toilet, the show. And then if you really want to track stuff, check out the advertisers. Who's advertising on the show? There are no big names advertising on the show because no advertiser is going to pay money for a live read on a show that doesn't advertise how many listeners it has. This is all bullshit.
I even think Squatty Potty has pulled out.
Yeah, of course. They lost the Gardein. Gardein is their sponsor now. Jesus Christ. If they're even still on.
We're going to write down every bit of success we have. So if a publicist calls our core team and someone isn't quite sure what the pitch is, you're going to open the handbook and say, hey, by the way, did you know we did this, we accomplished that, we accomplished this, we accomplished that, we did this, we did that. We're going to fucking give them all an avalanche
of bullshit
of stuff that we're doing. I wrote down Steve Brandano, you're now in charge of this. For some reason I saw you as maybe being useful there. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I'm starting to think about what components of our show, who.
You know what I'm thinking also? This is like someone who, and I used to do this, and I'm guilty. I had a backpack with all the flags of countries I'd been to. I'd get patches because when I was going through a lot of these countries, I didn't get souvenirs. So I just thought, why not get a patch and put it somewhere? And it was on this old backpack that now is long gone. But I thought it's kind of douchey because what you're really doing is bragging. Look where I've been and you haven't. Right? This is kind of that pitch. Look what we've done. Look what we've done. Instead of them knowing automatically, they have to be. It's like merit badges for a Boy Scout. Look, I can start a fire. I can set a set a splint.
Look at this knot I can tie.
Look at my 8th place medal.
Goes where and what teams.
You're right.
This handbook will include.
Look at my lifeguard badge.
Who's been on the show, how they achieve success. And this book will help us in every single way when we make a pitch.
Give my lucky yes.
And that's going to be done. It drives me nuts that we work at this company that has all of these resources. We're not using them.
Whose fucking fault is that?
Right. Who would even think to do that since you basically sued them and told everyone they're a piece of shit? And your
job's at stake.
Who would be like, listen, I know we work in this wing that's basically like the Bat Cave, but art department at Sirius, can you please help me make a poster that says, I love you, Brad Pitt?
This is the art department. You're looking at him.
They've got a booking department, they've got an art department, they've got a promotions department. We got to engage with them.
The whole gist of this PowerPoint, guys, is to really say Gary's a useless piece of shit. That's really the gist of the whole thing. He's supposed to be responsible for booking guests. He's gone over the years saying, I don't book guests. They book stuff on us. When they're not big enough now, they got to chase guests. That's how low they've fallen. Art department. Well, they've got guys that do audio stuff. They could easily do photoshopping. They must have them at that point. He's good at Photoshop. Why doesn't get Howard to do the art department? Promotions department. That was Ross Zapin. That was his whole thing. Promo.
Yeah, so there's the kick in the pants for him.
We got to be able to say to an artist, we're not only going to put you on here, but maybe we'll get you a concert. Things between Sirius has treated us in a very odd way, but we're gonna fix that.
We'll get you a concert. You can't get a gig. Go ahead, Sam.
Okay, these people that he wants don't have any problems getting concerts, let alone in Sirius radio.
Right.
Secondly, Sirius treated us very oddly. Is that the nice way of saying I sued the shit out of them and acted like a total arrogant fuckhead, even though they were my only out? Yeah. And CBS, thank God, didn't win the lawsuit and dropped it.
Yeah, and actually probably could have won the lawsuit. And I don't know. I still to this day don't know why CBS dropped that.
Probably because Les Moonves is a fucking scumbag. But either way.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard Scott Greenstein say, why would we put them on your show? Like we're the enemy.
Wow.
Right, Gary? There was some comment made. I forget who the artist was. Why would we put them on your show? Well, what are you, fucking high? You put them on our show because we're the only channel anyone's listening to.
Now, that was maybe my favorite part of the whole thing. He just admitted that Scott Greenstein knows they're full of shit and that they're worthless. They're completely worthless in terms of promo.
And then he just made up a total anecdote. Yeah, Gary, remember that artist? I can't think of the name. And then,
Well, if it really did happen, then it was someone big, and they clearly just did not want to even consider having them on the fucking Howard Stern show, or it was more of a situation of, they didn't want to do it. But I'd say it's more likely that Scott Greenstein said, no, why? You don't move any fucking needles. Why am I going to have him on that show?
Yeah, you're a lifetime subscription we can't cancel.
Yeah, basically.
So we're going to begin using their booking department. We're going to use their art department.
This is like, if I can't get more money, I'm taking as much water from these tanks as I can. I'm going to bring a garbage bag and bring in rice. I'm going to put rice in from the cafeteria, and I'm going to take it home. This is like a guy wanting to steal the hubcaps of the Sirius execs because he can't get another nickel out of them.
I know.
Yeah, pathetic.
It's really panic mode.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. So those are our guests. Here's the next thing.
Oh.
So now we've gone to a lot of trouble.
What does that mean? Ready for celebrity?
Put together a core team.
I can't even do this. I quit. Fucking.
What's the best juxtaposition? This fruity Sears model next to this wigged, scarved, like bag of bones. And he's talking about upgrading his appearance.
By the way, it's not upgrading your appearance when you just button some too tight, not tailored blazer to your body and just leave a button open. That looks like shit. The model looks like shit.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
it's not fashionable ever.
No, it's not. So this is what he thought you should all look like this. You should all look like El Fruto.
Yeah, Ralph and him probably have that guy trapped in the bowling alley, tied up.
It rubs the lotion all over itself.
Ralph probably dressed him for the PowerPoint.
He earned his 30 minutes a week.
Fucking $20,000 for 2 minutes.
Acts that we're trying to get up here. We finally get the artists up here, and they walk into the fucking radio station, and we look like, some people around here look like zombies.
Look who's fucking talking. He's got this Doc Holliday corset on. I can't even tell what the fuck that is.
He literally looks like when The Walking Dead thinks they're safe, and all of a sudden it's just like zombie apocalypse, and they just start having to fucking take them out one eye at a time.
From Walking Dead. We look like a college radio station. We look like we have homeless people working here. And I got to tell you something. It's off-putting and scary.
It's scary to have this fucking Frankenstein walking around on a red carpet, on a red shag rug, whatever, at the McGraw-Hill building, which somebody said, what a great plug for McGraw-Hill, the summit. It's an hour-long plug for the building.
It's like, isn't that textbooks?
Well, yeah, they're famous for their publishing company.
We got to work on our appearance. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays when we're on the air. If you're walking through the halls and you're going to be seeing celebrities and you represent this radio show and this core team...
Run. Don't get anywhere near them. We will taser you. Go ahead.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm getting my hair shampooed.
Getting my nails done.
Fucking dried out. Just picture like a steamer.
He's like...
sucking up all that dust.
I don't know if we used our simile quota for this particular episode, but he's like beef jerky with a wig on. Like he's got the physique of jerky.
Has worked for 6 months to book someone, and then the publicist walks in or the management walks in, and they look at it and go, oh, this show is so gross. This is their feeling. Oh,
it's a radio show.
Look at that host. He looks like a Slim Jim left in a hot car.
And the wig is just the mold, like over a few days, turning into that gray, like chia pet looking stuff.
Look at them. They look like bums. They don't know what they're doing. You've just blown it. And you've blown it for yourself. So what I would do is I'm going to just...
Go ahead. Sorry, you were going to say.
And you've blown it for yourselves. Oh, okay. So it wouldn't be the fact that I look insane writing letters to people, like fans, or be like, hey, I'm gay. You should come on this show.
Richard,
it wouldn't be because of that, right? It's all your fault, Mike Morales. You didn't look gay enough.
Richard's going, Howard, I wrote Brad Pitt 100 letters. He hasn't responded yet. And you see this stack of unopened letters and junk mail.
Tell you, go the fuck home and go get dressed for work. And I'm not saying it's an organization. Not everyone.
Wasn't he?
Sorry.
Wasn't he wearing wife beaters for like the majority of the E show?
Oh God, yeah, open shirt. Everything was like lounge, you know, like what a yacht rock look. He looked like Jimmy Buffett.
Yacht rock.
Jason, I commended you for looking better at work, and I appreciate it because you are in contact. People see you in the halls. Gary, Will always dresses well. I mean, he greets people. He's wearing a sweater. The guy looks put together. You guys, we don't work in some far-off place. The guests come through, and they see you. And if you look like you're a fucking goddamn bum, I am telling you, you will scare people away. I can't tell you how many shows I've done where I'm a guest, and I walk in, and whether I like it or not, I evaluate people, and I go, wow, this looks like a fucking dump. It's like a college station. I went to do Jon Stewart. They looked a mess. His writers were hanging out in the hall. It's really intimidating. And
his writers were hanging out the hall. It's intimidating to be around people. This is I don't know if it predates, but I think it's after. I'm pretty sure it's after the whole Gary, I want the fucking halls cleared. I want the halls cleared. And he from 2013, 2012 onwards, actually from 2010 onwards, it's like, don't fucking interact with him. He went through this huge rant. Did I send it to you and Bob maybe? Yeah. About actually, no, I put it on my channel recently about like, I just wanted to fucking clear it. All these people are coming after me. I did 5 hours of talking and I'm like talked out. And like, you don't allow people to get to you during break. You don't want to talk to them afterwards. You don't want to talk to them on the phone. The only time they can get to you is between commercial breaks or after the show because you're such an inaccessible shithead and an awful boss. Go ahead.
Right. So when in the beginning of the meeting he started and said, people come up to me and say, Howard, what can I do? What can I do? No, they don't. You told people never to approach you. By the way, the imagery I have in my head when he's saying this about it's scary at Jon Stewart show, I just picture like Beat It, the beginning, where it's like the nunchucks and the fucking I can't.
That's a great video, by the way.
I didn't feel good. I didn't have a good vibe. I probably wouldn't go back, just based on that. So we've got to think about our image.
It doesn't matter who's
Can you imagine? I think I might have to Photoshop Wiggy into that knife fight near the end. As the one guy,
where
they
like,
tie their wrists together.
Yeah, they have opposite hands and they stretch.
And they're going these huge roundhouse cuts that don't seem to go anywhere. Anyway.
Please, it wouldn't make any sense. His leg would fall off mid fucking lunge.
Maybe I'll just put him as Michael leading the choreography.
Uh-oh. The server name or address could not be resolved. Help. Oh, thank you. God bless.
Oh, God.
Monday through
Monday to Wednesday, especially guest days. You have 3 days a week where you're on. What's a guest day? It could be any one of them.
Especially guest days.
You know what? The bottom of this slide is the whole presentation.
Might have to just Photoshop that. Action. Nothing.
Abyss.
A, B, C. Always be closing. Always be closeted.
Together. You just got to. You can't scare off my guests. You can't do this to this core group. If Scott DePace happens to write a letter to Rush Limbaugh that has been crafted, honed, put into the core group's hands, we've waited 6-7 months, we've worked this guy to death, he walks in, and he sees, I'm not going to single anyone out, but there's a couple of people around here, you just look fucking scary and not put together.
Wouldn't you?
Meanwhile, you know when she's in the Thriller house, they're attacking the house, and it's like, the music.
Oh,
that's
the
fucking
girl.
him.
Yeah.
He is that guy. He's the one scaring the guests. Nobody wants to tell you how big their dick is. Nobody wants to tell you the relationship with their mother and father when they want to sell an album. I got news for you. Shut up.
He's worried about the writers or the interns, scaring the fucking like the guys that the producers scaring off the guests. Meanwhile, it looks like everybody's attending the fucking filming of The Dark Knight of the Scarecrow when they see him in a studio covered by 6 monitors. It's retarded. I mean, it's a radio show. Who cares what the writers, who, by the way, if they're doing their jobs, they're sitting at their desks. No one really sees what they look like. They're hunched over doing their work. They don't see their face. It's nothing to it. Just put on a blazer, okay?
If Jack Sparrow got Alzheimer's and ended up with COVID and ICU and just walked up on stage, that's what we have.
Yeah.
And this goes for everyone, including me. Upgrade appearance. No schlubby dress.
He misspelled that.
No bum homeless look. You gotta look. That's it. I need your help on this.
So he went through that real quick, but he's supposed to have been doing that while he was talking. So if a person looks bad, they're going to send him. He's going to send them home. No, he's not. He's not paying anybody to do work from home. There's just no way. He'll
look at him itching that wig.
Yeah, exactly. Now this is funny. Ronnie gets a little residual shrapnel.
So we're the brand. The Howard Stern Show is maybe the coolest, hippest place to work on the planet. People die to come visit. People pay thousands of dollars to come sit and watch us do the show.
Oh, God. He's talking about those charity eBay things where you can come and sit and listen. They used to do that. They stopped doing that a long time ago. I'm sure they realized we couldn't actually afford paying for these people to come in because no one was buying them. Remember they would auction on eBay? A chance to sit in and I always want to sit in for the news. And this, in terms of branding, didn't he give shit to Jackie for years for selling mugs, selling fucking T-shirts, Jackie the Joke Land CDs and whatever cassettes and stuff? And this is now how he's gonna. They never started. First of all, they never started selling swag. What happened to this?
Oh,
Wouldn't you like a Howard TV jacket
for Halloween?
You're the brand. Will, I know you're a fan. You like to wear the Eagles uniform, but fuck the Eagles uniform. Fuck them. Fuck your Eagles. You represent the Howard Stern Show. Wear the fucking Howard Stern Show logo. And you know what? We will 2013. I'll make a jacket. I'll make a shirt. Whatever the fuck it's got to be.
No, he won't. No, he doesn't.
Rah, rah, sis, boom, blow me. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Ronnie, the limo driver, where are you? I see Ronnie. Ronnie, I'm watching Howard TV, one of the best Howard TV specials, and it's you.
The limo driver. Sam's losing it now. How dare you wear Rick's? What? What is it?
I just get a picture them fearing for their lives like they're going to a football game and they're like, fuck, I hope nobody sees me.
I love the special, but what are you busy doing? You're busy putting the Rick's Cabaret decal on your car.
Can you imagine they got 2 jackets on? One's the Howard 101 for when there's a camera on them and they just suddenly switch. Covering their face.
Fuck Rick's Cabaret. They don't pay your fucking bills. The Howard Stern decals.
And you don't either. That's why everyone has to have another job.
That's basically what I was going to say. Rick's is the one giving Ronnie all kinds of fucking extra swag, not Wiggy.
If you want one. It's all about the Howard Stern Show. You know why? Because it's up to us to get the word out. And it's up to us to know that we're the fucking coolest place on the planet to work.
Oh, yeah, that seems so cool. I just want to club him at the knees. Like, I've never thought of myself like I could be a hitman for the mob.
You want to kneecap him?
Very moment, I just want to take a fucking pipe and fucking right to that kneecap. I just look at that knee and I'm thinking, damn, it would feel so good to beat the fuck out of those joints.
You wouldn't need it. You need a wiffle ball. That wiffle bat. That's about it. So we must, polishing our brand. I just want to Photoshop polishing our knobs. We must stay relevant and cutting edge. Move from college radio station to the #1 radio station in the country that we are. They're not the #1 radio show. They're a podcast. From 2006 to now, that's all they are. right?
Move from what? I don't get it.
Move from college radio station. Basically,
Yeah,
he's
what
saying
college radio station? What is he talking about? He's on Sirius.
exactly.
We got to polish the brand in 2013. We got to stay relevant. We got to stay cutting edge. We got to move from college radio station to the #1 radio show in the country. There isn't one radio guy in the world that wouldn't get his left nut to work here.
So this is what I don't understand. You're saying at the same fucking time, we are 23 million listeners. We are a college radio station. Which is it? Which is it?
I don't know.
If I'm watching that and I'm in the staff, I'm having like, I don't know, heart palpitations trying to figure out the logic.
That's why I don't understand right now why one of these staff members aren't dragging him out like fucking Joe Pesci in Casino, fucking beating him to death with his brother and throwing him in the desert and goodbye. I mean,
Frankie, he's still breathing.
I'm not a killer.
No, Sam had enough.
Don't push me.
How much more was Sam going to take?
Guys with morning shows, they want to leave their morning show and come work with us.
Look at it.
Our green room embarrasses me. So think about it. The core group has put together a campaign to get...
It's a Photoshop of the Cars Candy O album on the back. Our green room...
Was that Dana Plato after her interview?
When she was filming Different Strokes too. The Jesus Christ. And as far as I can remember, they had that Jeremy... What's his name? The Facebook artist.
Jeremy Spoke.
They redid a famous artist's artwork in the green room, literally painted over it. It was Jeremy Cho or Che or something. Anyway, I didn't think much of it, but basically they covered up the fucking artwork completely and remodeled their fucking green room. But
this bitch is still a better model than Beth.
Here's the thing I don't understand. This is an extra. Who comes to a show goes, you know what? I can't wait to get to that green room. Like this is somewhere to wait until you do the fucking show. Yes, improve it, but you don't have to mention it in a PowerPoint. Just fix it, fuckhead.
How about just play the show later, and more people would like to come in, not at 6 or 7. Or 8 a.m.
When they're getting their hearts started, exactly.
Tom Cruise finally agrees. We get him in. And our green room looks like a dump. We're going to get rid of that whale drawing. We're going to start putting up pictures that show us off gold, platinum records that we've helped sell.
That are hanging in my bowling alley as we speak.
Awards that we won. We're going to change that green room. We're going to change the entire compound. We're going to clean it up. Oof. Everything hanging on the walls will promote our success. Tell the story of our greatest moments. Gold records, broadcast awards. Where are our tellies? Okay, we paid for it, but so what?
Who loves you, baby? Go ahead.
No one. We have to pay for someone to tell us. Yeah, our biggest success is we took a basic unknown comic, turned him into a Carnegie Hall seller. He sold 2 books that were bestsellers, and we pretend he doesn't exist.
Exactly. This is the funny part because I asked Richie this in one of the questions about the tellies. Did anyone actually bring them in? And the tellies are, bullshit awards you pay for. And he said, no, whoever got any tellies, they kept them in their house or wherever the fuck.
Where are they? Who has the tellers? Do we know? You got them?
Oh, no, I've got some for me. We all have them.
You have them? Bring them in.
Okay, you can have them.
Hang them on the walls.
Never happened.
What better? You finally have a publicist up here, and our walls look like jack shit. We're looking at Jeff the drummer. Yeah, it's fun, but you know what? I know a publicist who's not in our culture goes, ew.
Do you know what show you're on?
Yeah, it's complete delusion. So this I'm sure it was just Marcy gassing him up saying, look, you got to make it about you. You're the draw. And Marcy didn't know anything about the fucking show. And it's proven clearly they didn't know what they were doing because they got rid of everything the fans liked and lost fans in droves after this.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think, like I said, he's a construct. He doesn't even have an identity. So the identity is driven by whatever's fueling behind it. And at the time now, it's Marcy fueling this train of nothingness.
Yeah,
So
narcissism and saying like you're all that. You got to prove you're all that. Jesus Christ.
This show's like weird, whatever, who knows what's in their head. I want them to walk in and see success. I want the red carpet rolled out for them. Now, I don't mean figuratively, I mean literally. I had a
You just imagine Ronnie unfurling this carpet from his jacket. All of a sudden,
that's fucking
walking.
comfortable at 6 a.m.
Dun-dun-dun, horn section.
wonderful experience years ago. I did the Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
What you were saying?
Think about any early appointment you've ever had to make. Could you fucking imagine if somebody just stood out there and rolled out a red carpet? I'd punch you in the face. Like, get the fuck out of here. I got my sunglasses on. You're lucky I'm here. Give me a cup of coffee, maybe a donut, and a croissant, something, and stop. If this was what I had to look at 6 a.m., I'd walk right away.
Well, this is what I don't understand. Like, he's literally that stupid to imagine that a red carpet coming out is what people want when they're going in to do a fucking radio junket. Yes, he's got TV there as well, but their own TV. They just want to make sure they look fine. They don't give a fuck about the red carpet or if you throw your jacket down over the puddle so they can not get wet. It's asinine. I can't believe this is part of the PowerPoint. A literal red carpet.
Culture goes,
Can you hear?
ew, he's gross, this show's like weird, whatever, who knows what's in their head. I want them to walk in and see success. I want the red carpet rolled out for them. Now, I don't mean figuratively, I mean literally. I had a wonderful experience years ago. I did the Tonight Show with Jay Leno before we were on the outs. I got out of my car, they rolled out a red carpet for me. I was embarrassed, it was a little over the top. Fuck, I've never forgotten it.
Because you're a fucking idiot. I mean, you know what? I haven't forgotten a lot of things either. It doesn't mean I should do them.
Isn't he projecting? It assuaged my ego to be rolled out, to have the red carpet rolled out for me. But then why wouldn't you remember to do that then when it happened? Right after it happened, why don't you do that?
You know what, Fillmore? I remember my first bus ride on my way to elementary school. Doesn't mean I want to get on a fucking bus ever again.
And when guest walks in, we will roll out the red carpet. And they will like this. And they will get their asses kissed. And it will make a difference. They walk in, they roll out the red carpet, they walk into a green room that says success, what we've achieved. Hey, it's pretty cool.
Yep.
Here's the difference. And again, not being intelligent hurts him. The difference is celebrities walked into your domain and didn't get their asses kissed. Mm-hmm. That was the difference between you and every other green room, every other red carpet, and every other show. Mm-hmm. If you decide you want to be every other show in 2013 on the radio, you're going to fail miserably. Yep. So you might as well take your fucking ugly self and roll yourself up in that red carpet and get thrown into the fucking river. Because
you're not on TV.
You're really miscalculating what you are and what your success is.
Yeah, he was overstepping his bounds. He didn't quite realize he was still just a podcast at this point.
They get a breakfast. Oh, this is suddenly like real-time radio. Like, this is a big deal.
Wait till they see the packet of almonds in front of them. Wait till they see the hot water.
Do you know how many times I've brought in bagels and donuts to my office? It's not that big of a deal.
No, it's not.
This is a pretty good place.
They see Ronnie like doing omelets, waiting for the guest. How do you want your eggs? They see Jason like picking at the pan with his bare fingers.
Fucking chopping chives.
We are acting now like they're doing we're doing them a favor.
Jason's sneaking bacon off the plate.
I gotta be honest with you. This is I can't even take this seriously. Look at him. He's You know what, you fucking idiot? The Holiday Inn in, I don't know, Grand Island, New York does the same thing. It's not that big of a deal.
They're doing us the favor. And they get bombarded with Howard 100 News. And they get bombarded with Howard TV and the camera. Now look.
Oh, boop.
To CNN to do an interview with Piers Morgan. I go in, I agreed to do a 1-hour interview with him. I thought I was being pretty gracious. Ralph was with me. And they got a camera on.
Yep.
Okay.
I haven't done hair, I haven't done makeup. And I don't want to be filmed that way. I don't want to be video. But then again, I'm going like, I don't want to be a dick. So like, okay, I'll let them video. Nobody's asked my permission.
All right. You were going to say something. We got cut off.
Okay, so remember in the first part, I said, just hold this thought when he was harassing the Howard 100 News team that this is their job. They should be doing A, B, and C to celebrities. Now he's saying you shouldn't be stalking them. Howard 100 News, all in their face. I mean, you just told them this is their opportunity, and now you're telling them you're a nuisance.
Yep. Don't do it.
I'm really pissed. I'm never going on the Piers Morgan show again. It has nothing to do with Piers. Piers was great. The show was great. I don't want to go through it. We are not looking at our business life from the perspective of a performer.
You're not Piers Morgan.
She walks in and if she hasn't put her makeup on or she's just fucking feeling premenstrual, she walks in and we got the camera there, Howard TV, Lisa G, I want to interview you, blah, 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 blah. I mean, fuck you. I'm never...
No, fuck you. Don't you have daughters?
Yes, this is about as insensitive and fucking asshole-ish as you could be as a boss, as some kind of like inspirational, motivational speaker, like Lisa, and he's naming Lisa G. He's making her feel like shit now. How's this going to inspire her?
By the way, in the beginning, he said, Jewel, we plugged her album this many times. We got so much out of her. She did him a favor by singing that Nickels and Dimes bullshit song of his. She did him the favor. And now all of a sudden it's Jewel's premenstrual. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Is he doing a Kotex live read?
How do you feel, Lisa G, Tracy Millman?
There's no one counting him, no one holding him accountable. I know he's that much, that rich and all that bullshit, but come on, guys, right is right. This is not right.
Can I be honest with you? I thought maybe the same thing, except for when this COVID thing hit and our department, our office was kind of not doing the right thing. And our director had a meeting and people started getting upset. Like you could feel like the tension building. And I just simply said, people are scared. You're not like giving us answers to we're going to be operating. Like you need to give us, what do you mean by what you're saying? These things that you're saying aren't making sense. So what does this mean? How do you want to implement this? A, B, and C. It doesn't take that much to just speak up. It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Back. I wouldn't come back. I'm telling you, I would not come back. I've been interviewed all over the place. So I'm real fucking edgy. I'm real touchy about this shit. When I do Letterman, I am never photographed ahead of time.
Because nobody cares about you.
Now, it's a different story if our core team says to the publicist or the manager, whoever's coming, hey, we do have a TV show, we have a news department, would it be all right? You never approach the celebrity, because what happened to me appears, they came up to me, they go, Howard, would you mind if we talk to you on camera? And you know what I said? No, it's no problem, because I don't want to be a dick. I can't be tagged as the guy who's a dick. They didn't go to my agent who was with me, because they know the agent would say no.
Okay, go ahead, Sam.
Okay, well, you are a dick. Who do you think's a part of this core team?
God, I have no idea, because they would have hired so many more people, and how many of those people we don't know. And then you'd assume it was, okay, Marcy is the leader of the core team, whatever, but you're not going to hear from her. And if she brought in someone, I would say Brandano, because she was fucking him at the time. Jason, Will, and they would be heading different things. Now we know from Jason, and we'll play it later, hopefully that fucking works, is going to be heading up doing the website specifically. And he's saying that Gary's really feeling the pressure because I think he's basically Gary's being marginalized. I think that's the sense of the pressure. And then the shows are being, and he's bitching and moaning, and then they just hate where they're working now. It's a completely different work environment because of Marcy and him. So people that would normally be just doing whatever the producing they normally do are now being given extra duties, which sucks in any workplace. It doesn't matter where you are. So no idea, but probably the producers being asked to do this extra bullshit.
We've got to be aware of the experience of somebody coming into our station. It's the red carpet comes out. There's no scary looking fucking college looking guys walking around the halls who look really
Oh.
He's scared of people at college. I get it. Okay.
You think if anyone wears like a Harvard hoodie, they're just like, don't kill me.
He goes in the fetal position.
who look like kids. There's food. Look great. Awards. Wow, look what these guys have accomplished. No pre or post interviews without a previous, an okay. No one except guest relations people are permitted in the green room talking to the guests. No bombarding. It looks like a fucking zoo out there. You've got to leave people alone.
Go ahead, Sam.
You know what? I never thought Stuttering John ever looked good on anything he did. It's like right up there right now. Like equal footing with how badly this is coming across.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, he's not wrong in wanting the people to be left alone in the green room, but it's not necessary to make that a PowerPoint presentation. You literally have to put out the edict, like, look, no one goes near the guests when they're in the green room. Leave them the fuck alone. That's it. That's how hard it is. That's how easy it is.
But it
he's such
wasn't
a
even
pussy.
the edict, because he said in the beginning that here's an opportunity. You're missing out. You could be getting some news from these celebrities, but you're not.
Right. He's so befuddled. It's like what do they call it? The Mobius band. It's just kind of going around in in like he's just it's a mess of contradictions.
Tim, you can't go in the green room and ask people questions like Quentin Tarantino. You just can't. You can't do it. There's got to be one person assigned from our core team.
Core team.
It's got to be organized. If you come across one of these people in the hall, look professional.
Yeah, go ahead.
How fucked up is this, Fillmore? And I'm just so exhausted by this topic, but I just have to throw this out there. How fucked up is this that when it was just Jackie, Fred, Robin, him, Stuttering John, that's it. That show was 10 times more fast, successful, and got on more news, got more publications, got everything that they're asking for in this PowerPoint by just doing that with that many people.
Yeah, being organic. And now by being so calculated, it's the opposite. Because he's too self-aware. He's too aware of what he looks like on camera. He cares now suddenly what he looks like, even though he's always looked like shit and still does. And now he cares, oh, what's my brand? His brand, he didn't care originally. It was money. Money was the motivation, not the brand. Ratings were the motivation. Now that he has no ratings, it's all like, oh, now I have to focus on things that really mean nothing. And to him, that's just about everything.
I think the saddest part is, like, I thought he kind of understood funny comics because he had them on, and he doesn't. No. Because he doesn't have them on anymore.
And he had the balls to rate comics in private parts of the book. There's a whole chapter devoted to who he thinks is funny and who isn't. And there's an audio clip. I'll put it on my channel again. It's awful because he's like saying, not a genius, not a genius. He wouldn't know. He doesn't know comedy. And if we ever
Fillmore, you're supposed to make a s'more out of that. Put 2 graham crackers together and fucking bite down.
If we ever do that Club Ritz, that the Ritz, that comedy thing that walked through. Okay.
Here's where we fall short. We had an experience years ago. John Bon Jovi was going to do us a favor. He couldn't get upstairs. Couldn't get in the building. You know what he said? Fuck you guys. He tried to get in once. Second time he gave up and said, fuck you. He was pissed. Who the fuck are we? Bon Jovi's a big star, sold 80 million videos out like that. He's doing us a favor. He can't get into the building.
Thank your lucky stars, John. You didn't have to do that.
2013, what happens? When Bon Jovi or anybody else comes into this building, there's an escort waiting for them in the lobby. They're brought up in the elevator. They're escorted in and out of the green room.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what? He made up for it. Listen to that rock and roll induction speech he made where he basically blew Richie Sambora's cock for a half an hour. You're welcome.
Yeah, and sang along. He did a sing-along.
They're escorted to and from the bathroom. They're escorted in and out of the studio.
They're escorted to and from bathroom. That means they can't go anywhere but where the escort tells them to.
On a steel horse I ride.
They're escorted to the elevator and down to the lobby, no exceptions. The person who's going to do this is Ronnie. When I left the Jimmy Kimmel Show the last time, about 2 weeks later, I get a box in the mail with a lovely thank you note. Picture of myself and Jimmy.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I
Come on,
did this
Sam,
shit when I
there's only 3 minutes left. Can we do it?
I graduated high school and gave away and got presents, like framed pictures of us. This isn't impressive.
No, well, it's impressive to someone who gives nothing to anybody. Like he doesn't give fuck all to anybody.
Congratulations.
He won't let the staff get bottled water that's given to them. So, yeah.
Framed the Jimmy Kimmel Show and a beautiful note.
A different
I was
wig.
impressed. I was like, wow, what a nice memento. And Jimmy's now always sitting on my desk because I like the picture.
I like my wig.
Exactly.
Publicists, management, and talent get flowers, a picture, a thank you, a note, something. We're doing this in 2013. Not maybe.
I can't even read that. It looks like fucking Roman numerals.
It look a little too heavy on the stencil font.
Not only do we have to work the celebrity, we have to work their management. That's the key to achieving our goal of an A-list guest every week.
Yeah.
2 B-lists.
Right.
If a publicist is treated like God, they don't just represent one person.
Except Don Buchwald, who represents, well, one person.
I just think to myself, do you think they play this in other agencies? It's like, this is the opposite. They just like take clips from this, like, here's what we do and here's what you're not supposed to do.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised in the slightest if that's exactly what people did. Like, cut this up and just say, here, watch this. Don't do this.
We have corporate tutorials that we have to take every single year. Active shooter, sexual harassment, global IT, like stealing information, confidentiality, and they show you in skits what to do and what not to do. And I just think to myself, if somebody was working for an agency, this is perfect.
Absolutely, yeah.
Are you kidding? Look at the note. Dear Howard, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you on JKL. Please come visit us again soon. All the best, Jimmy and all your friends at Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Isn't Beth good at this? Doesn't she write all the thank you notes?
Doesn't she write? Well, Howard,
remember?
Where is this going to? Thank you, Whitney Cummings. Come again, ha ha.
If a publicist says after an interview, hey, can I go in and get a picture with Howard? Take the picture and send them the picture too in a frame. We're going to do that. We're behind, man. We're falling behind. We've got to do stuff like this. And you got to think, you know what? You got to just think of everything.
Understatement of the year.
Yeah, pretty much.
When I came up with this presentation for you, I was up till 2, 3 in the morning every fucking night because I was so pissed that we're not doing this.
This is the result. All that homework.
Oh my God.
This is, if you pulled an all-nighter and were just not fueled by coffee, Coca-Cola, actual Coke, it couldn't look any worse than this. And that's exactly what he did. Last minute thrown together. I'm sure he did this in like a matter of 4 hours, but it should have taken, I don't know, a half hour based on how bad it is.
You know what? I thought maybe it did take like just a short amount of time and he did this. I think this took him so long.
I think it took him days and days of looking over it and constantly going back and rechanging it and putting pictures. The clip art alone must have taken him a week.
This is like when clip art in a PowerPoint and you're first introduced to it, maybe like, I don't know, sophomore year in high school.
Yes.
And you're giving it your first try.
Yeah, it's first shot. Exactly.
We respect the publicist. If a publicist says interview is over, Gary, I did this with you today. When Jules' publicist said she has to leave.
She's bleeding heavily. She has to leave, Howard.
I ended the interview. Why? I want to respect her. Or him. I don't know. I want to respect these.
I'm gonna throw fucking Kotex at her and tell her next time.
Shove this up your twat.
People, I want to say to them, we're pros, and we want to work with you. And now you'll have a relationship. Publicists
In
get treated-
the gift bag, I'm gonna include Playtex.
Nicer or better than guests, because they're the ones that control this campaign we're on.
What is this?
When they're sitting in the green room, they're going to see a beautiful green room. They're going to be comfortable. They're going to be eating. They're going to be looking at our awards on the wall.
Go ahead. What? Sam's losing it silently.
You just visualize this campaign. So you're gonna walk into the serious room. You're not gonna get a red carpet right away because he doesn't even live in that realm of the building. So you got to walk in, and you still got to give the idea. And then when you walk into his room, you get some Wizard of Oz velvet carpet, roped shit. I mean, let's think about this. Then you walk in the green room. There's gonna be some model corpse laying there with some awards surrounding you.
Yeah, Studio 79.
You go, hey, this show's pretty fucking cool. And by the way, when I told them that I had to leave, they listened to me. I like these people. Refreshments, elegant follow-up and thank yous.
Can I get a water?
Last time we thank the guests for coming in here? Probably never. It's not going to happen anymore. So here's an action. You can write this down. Think of a great thank you list for a guest. What can we do to please a guest?
Maybe give them a hand job while they're waiting. Give your suggestions to the core team. This is the whole point, guys. It's not planned out. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and he's actually actively asking for suggestions because he doesn't have the thing mapped out. You're supposed to have this mapped out before you give the fucking presentation. What's the point of this?
Actually, the whole thing, if you really, I mean...
This is a 5-minute presentation at best. He made it into 2 hours.
We've made it into fucking 5.
More than that. Ralph's got a lot of good ideas. Starting with the way people are dressed. He'll have you all looking like Prince in the Revolution before you're finished. Go ahead.
Ralph still has acne at 50. Shut the fuck up. He has no good ideas.
We'll get Beetlejuice to pick out Howard shirts. I love that line. Go fuck your Star Trek figures in the ass, Ralph. Go ahead. Sorry, I thought there were a little already mentioned in there for Sarah Washington. Go ahead.
Just go.
Okay, we're almost done.
I want to hear from you. There's a lot of people in here who make lots of suggestions and then it kind of dies. So now you're going to be listened to.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to say. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's the end of that anyway. So we're good for that. I'm just going to get the last few audio clips and then we're done. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I was going to say is now I want to hear you. So you're right. What he really wants is I'm going to threaten your job, make this scary, threatening presentation, not pay you anymore, but I have no sort of game plan how to procure what I'm asking for. So your jobs are going to be gone, but you better think of all the solutions for the problems that I have.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you're out.
I'm just going to stand here and pace around like a fucking Pixar movie
Okay, so I'm gonna play this one clip. It's called "Cheapskate Wiggy Explains Why There's No Breakfast Awaiting for the Guests." This was in literally that day or the next day when they had Curtis Armstrong and Robert Carradine in.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, Curtis.
Robert's still eating.
Sure.
What are you doing?
Curtis, well, you know what? I told Gary, how about if our guests get a little bit of breakfast before they come?
Oh,
maybe
now
could
they
be
come.
like,
We just got it.
So you benefited from my first, I had a whole big meeting about treating guests properly and stuff and how disgusting our green room is.
Thank you. It's not that disgusting. No, it was just lovely, but there wasn't anything to eat, and I had to fight to get a cup of coffee. It was ugly out there.
You got to hear this.
Okay, so this is going to be his explanation as to why no one had breakfast. This is 116:13, everybody.
So going well.
What's that?
So going well.
Exactly.
Red pillow?
No, Tom Arnold was sweating all over it yesterday. You should be honored to be here. What's your problem? Tom Arnold left yesterday. There was a big stain on that pillow.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, he was high. He's a great guest. He's very high energy.
He is.
Okay, so here's the last bit, okay, because I had to cut it up to make sure it's 30-second increments.
A very high
I think
energy.
he wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
And then said high energy.
High energy.
Robin, hi there. How you doing? I'm good. Really good to see you. Good to see you too. Yeah. Okay.
That wasn't crowbarred in to make it seem like she was in studio.
Okay. So anyway.
No. So I said to the guys, when a guest comes, it would be really great if just a cup of coffee and a bagel or something. So we're doing that. Then we found out it's like $60 just to get 4 bagels and some coffee.
Forget it. It isn't worth it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, most people aren't thinking about food anyway when they.
Now, $60 for what? Where's he getting the bagels from? Like some sushi restaurant?
Jail? Like, is it his commissary?
Okay.
I mean, for fuck's sake, bagels, $60. By the way, I get food and coffee when I go get my hair cut.
Mm-hmm. This next clip is all the condensed stuff I got from Back Office Radio from the following day, January 17th, 2013. It's a way longer clip, and I only got like a minute and a half of it because this is just the bits. And it seems a little jarring, it's just the way I edited it. My mistake.
As you guys are. Well, who do you think is the most stressed?
Gary.
Gary, right?
It's not even close. But I think he's taking the brunt of the punishment.
Gary, I mean, Gary, these last few months has looked like a beaten man. I mean, he's aged probably about 20 years in 6 months. And I'm sure there's a lot of reasons for that. I think there's his job is being looked at closer. I think a lot of these changes that we're talking about is more about him and his control of the office and how it's operating. Listen.
Okay, so this is, again, Back Office Radio talking about specifically the results of the meeting, and there's going to be a few more things mentioned that I think people will be interested in.
So he's the boss, and if he's the boss, he must be getting, the bulk of the shit right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've both gone through times where you're almost jealous of Gary's relationship with Howard.
Right.
You're like, well, why can't, I be seen the same way Gary's seen in front of Howard? But this is certainly not one of those occasions.
No.
I am not jealous in any way. And Gary will say to me, or he'll talk to us and be like, man, yeah, it's coming down hard on me right now. I feel like I'm dealing with a lot of stressful stuff. And I'm saying, yeah, well, you're the producer of the show. You're the executive producer.
So they're saying, suck it up. And I don't blame them. It is Gary's thing. Yeah, go ahead.
So what date was this from?
17th of January, Back Office Radio.
Okay, so on the wrap-up show on March 18th, 2013, same year, after break, Gary asked if John thinks that when Howard is giving him crap, does Howard let him off easy? John says he does. He thinks that Gary gets a lot more, though. He said if he was in there more, then he might take it more. Gary said there was a point where Fred was making fun of him for something John had said. Blah, blah, blah. And John asked Gary if he thinks Howard is handling America's Got Talent, AGT, differently this year. Gary said he's not sure because he's not talking about it much. And basically they were just saying that Gary was being picked on. He said Gary and JD really take a lot of it. Gary said John doesn't react the way he reacts. He said it's hard to get John mad, but he has seen him get mad. So basically Howard was picking on the two of them for that show, but Gary was getting relentless shit. So this was building up since since this January comment when Jason said he's fed up. This was in March. So picture how long this was building.
Oh, yeah. And then keep in mind, everybody, and this is there was a wrap-up show in which Jason outright said, I don't know how I'm supposed to respect you when you're only in 3 days a week. And Gary said, that's not for the air. I don't have the audio, but it's on Mark Friggin. You can read up about it. So they shut that down real quick. And Jason will explain a little more in this clip that we're going to play about why there's such tension in the office. And what he's not going to say is that he and Will felt like, well, you don't need Gary. We could do his fucking job for less money and still make more ourselves, absorb his salary because he's a useless piece of shit.
And on top of it, too, by the way, Howard was on AGT for the first time. So he started being impressed with the things at the way AGT was run, thinking that he could run his own show like this. So on the show in 2013, he said he likes the way the show is run. He said that they do everything for him. He said he just has to walk in. Howard said the radio show is like the whole conglomerate. Howard said he has to look into fixing the doors. Howard said he's not the CEO and doesn't want to deal with it. He said AGT doesn't bill him for a fucking thing. He said maybe they should. That's how much they do for him.
So basically he was getting pissed off that Sirius was now charging him for stuff that he previously got for free. I'm sure that's the only reason that would exist, why he would get so pissed off.
The brunt of this, I don't know what to tell you on that.
Do you think, and part of this professionalism is now Gary is wearing a jacket every day and not wearing it and taking it off and wearing it and taking it off just when the guests come in.
He's special guests.
Right, special guests. I mean, that was so great.
They get jacket treatment.
I started keeping track of it, and then Gary started wearing the jacket more full time. But it was so funny who he chose to wear the jacket for and who he didn't choose to wear the jacket for.
Like a fedora?
Yeah. But not like a...
Okay, so that they're mocking Gary for being like trying to get away with not wearing the fucking blazer, but he kind of eventually had to regularly. He used to wear that Adidas thing all the time. And now they mentioned Don Buchwald and Jason gives him shit. Jason gives Will shit.
Fedora, those are too big for me, but I'm going to go to a fan because I like wearing a hat when I'm not going to wear the hat indoors.
You can wear it inside.
I'm not going to wear the hat indoors. Yeah, hey, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think it is, though?
I don't know. Actually, I think you don't want to. Okay, you go ahead.
I think it is that pretty much what you were saying, that you somehow undermine his authority. There may be some jealousy there, that you have kind of taken this role as
a
producer
boss,
or right, exactly, as an executive for the show, and that you are somehow challenging him or a competitor.
I was going to say that. I think, and Will, we talked about this a little bit, but when Howard made the announcement that, I'm running the website now, and, we're trying to improve it and make it, we have plans to make it bigger and better and bolder. And, I think Gary was a little miffed that.
Yeah, and so Gary's getting marginalized, and he's pissed off, and he's also getting shit on for reasons. You shouldn't get mad at Gary for not knowing about the website. He didn't fucking go to Adelphi to learn web page design. You hire somebody for that. And so if you get someone like Jason to do it, it's an extra, it's an add-on to his job. Okay, fine. But Gary probably feeling like, oh God, what use am I in this fucking office anymore? Did you find some more, Sam?
Yeah. So on air, Howard was basically saying, and this is 2/27/2013. He said that they have a senior vice president and a vice president. Howard said Tim thinks of naming a vice president. Howard said he named some names and he didn't even know who they were. Tim said that titles mean that you're on a different bonus structure and things like that. Tim names some of the other senior VPs there. And Gary said that Ross is a senior VP. Howard laughed. Howard said he didn't know that. Howard let Tim do his thing. Tim read his speech about how the channels are doing. And Tim said they continue to be the epicenter of entertainment. He said Howard 101 is creating new and innovative channels. And Howard said, I don't know for how long.
Wow.
Will asked, what's the channel's mission statement? Tim said, it's to do good. Howard said he wrote a whole blog about that the other day. He wrote about how they have to entertain people who are in their cars listening. Howard said that they have to deliver the funniest show possible. Howard said they should memorize it. What?
Yeah,
Robin
like some
said
manifesto.
that they should recite it every morning.
Yeah, like cult
Tim
bullshit.
Tim said he will print them out and he will have them in the office every morning. So basically, they're talking about writing a script for the show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Like a formula.
Wow.
Which it kind of already had a formula anyway. I mean, if you really think about it, but it was from day to day, it might be different. Now it's like, no, regiment. So I'll play the rest of this clip.
You know, that went right to me and didn't go through him.
Yeah.
Do you think that?
I mean, probably to a certain degree. I think Gary might be slightly paranoid. If you look at the relationships around here, Gary is still Howard's go-to guy.
Absolutely.
You know, he is the guy that he looks to when for any kind of question. We all, like you said, we feed everything through Gary, and I think he's just being a little paranoid, maybe a little sensitive to the whole thing.
And I agree. And I had made a comment on the air about the hours that Gary works, and he asked me not to talk about. But my point, one of my points to that was, I like having Gary here in the office. When he's in the office, he's the boss. He's the guy I bring everything to. He's the guy I filter everything through. When he's not here, I'm the boss, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
I got a report of a guy.
So this is so there. I don't know what you want to take from that, guys, other than the fact that Jason's running the show when Gary's not there. It means Gary's completely superfluous to operations. And if you don't hear Howard bitching about Jason over the years, then maybe he's better at his job better at Gary's job than Gary is, which couldn't be too hard based on some intel that we got. Anyway, this is the last bit. It's only about 15 seconds. Listen to this, guys.
And I'm not going to say who it is, but somebody that works here that supposedly saves his IM conversations with people so that he can use that later.
I know that
ammo.
guy, and he 100% saves his IM conversations.
And that kind of shit scares me. That's like, I mean, come on.
So you got weasels on the show saving their IMs and probably, SMS messages, emails, whatever, for future ammunition to use against something. Yeah, go ahead, Sam. What have you got?
And remember, so he said, we need to bring up our accomplishments. So that same year in February 2013, he says he thought he should get an Oscar for Private Parts, that he should have been considered. This was a phone conversation from a guy, quote unquote, and he should have got considered for an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just like, now when you see this presentation and all of a sudden, like, why are we talking about Private Parts getting an Oscar and should have been up for conversation?
Right.
That's just, it's more of this nonsense.
Right. So the last clip we're going to play is the Greg Fitzsimmons show from 2015. I think it might have been May. Maria Menounos and her fiance at the time want to go on. They're going to talk a little bit about what the place is like now that it's been changed.
No.
What?
I don't have my shit
He's
together.
also. You're also
Greg,
the
it's
only.
So easy. I know.
You're also the only You and Jay Thomas are the only survivors of
Only
101.
survivors. All the and it's very sad because we lost a few good people there. We got
Riley Martin.
Riley Martin passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a certain point where I was the only guy on the air because it was, a retarded guy and a guy who'd been abducted by aliens and a drunk and then me. And I was like, what am I?
But I loved it all.
How do I fit
really
into
did.
this?
I loved it all. But I think it was taken away from the big show. That's why they kind of circled the wagons over there. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't done it in a few years. And I saw a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so now they're going to go a little more into it, guys.
In what sense?
It felt more like visiting Fallon or Conan or, the paint, the decor, iPads on the walls.
iPads on the walls. I don't know
what is
for.
this, the fucking broken down Apple store?
I don't know.
It's in sport coats. And I have to say, as much as it's comedic fodder to make fun of all that or think it's some kind of salad or whatever, everyone there was in a weird way happier.
Yeah.
There's more structure.
Steve Brandano was saying to us behind the scenes, like, listen, I miss doing the intern show, but I realized my dream was to work on the Howard Stern show. It wasn't to do my own show, do the intern show. And my attention was being taken away from the big show. Now it's back. He's like, I've had 3 promotions. I'm a producer now. I'm producing the segment. Flat Ronnie, and then Ronnie's engagement. Like, I feel like so much.
So anyway, that's really most of that I wanted to play, that needed to be played. Now, 3 promotions, Brandano, for what? For fucking Marcy, basically.
I would have, of course. I would have loved to known the pay structure of those promotions.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to put him in a different bracket, I would hazard to say that Brandano started to get paid more than Jason, and Jason complained. Jason went to HR.
Why aren't they? Like, can you look up their salaries? No.
I have no way of knowing. There's no way. I mean, we could ask around and try to get. I'm sure somebody does know, absolutely. But do the math. If Casey was making as a producer $23,000 back in like post 9/11 Stern Show days, and he was there to 2004, I'm sure. Why would he say 23,000 if it was a lie? If it was more than that, why would he lowball it like that to make them look even worse? I believe it. So I would say, God, Will and Jason probably not clearing 80 each. I doubt they're making that much.
No, I hate him. Just off him.
Yeah.
Just fucking.
Yeah. So anyway, the last bit of it just talks about their engagement. I'm going to scroll ahead to it, and it was who was it? They get in touch with Beth because they want to surprise Maria on the air with the fiance. He wants to propose to her. She says something about having to delete the emails.
I'm sorry. Can you just kill me now?
Almost done.
You're going to marry me on the show. And then she wrote back and said, Howard and I are crying. We're so happy. And then Howard said, do not tell anyone. Don't tell anyone from our show. Don't tell anybody about this period. And Beth said, and I want you to delete all of our emails as we go back and forth.
Because she knows Maria.
She knows it.
Okay, so that's a little bit of aftermath of what happened, guys, after the fact, and just to give you a little more knowledge about what the end results were. So we hope you guys have enjoyed this. We have tried our best to enjoy it under the circumstances. The editing is going to be a lot of fun, but that's my own fault. Anything you want to say in closing, Sam?
If anyone just feels unhinged, just it's okay.
Fuck Facebook, by the way. I think I'm going to make a couple of mock Twitter accounts and promote our show.
Yeah, and if you want to make anyone feel welcome in your home, roll out the red carpet.
Absolutely. So next time, guys, we see you. Thank you so much for listening and scrolling through this one, whether it's the video portion or on Podbean. You can find us now on a bunch of apps, podcast streaming apps. We're going to be coming up next with the next NPD episode, which should be, I'm not sure exactly when that'll be, but when we do, you hope give a big welcome and thank you to Bob D for agreeing to do that. This one's going to be the focus on Beth and Allison, and that's going to be
I can't wait for this. I'm like, I can't wait to get rid of this and go for that.
Yeah. We'll also be doing another breakdown at some point, guys, but it's going to be a mishmash of days, and we're going to we'll tell you what days they are, but it's going to be a whole month worth, but just the stuff that we cherry pick that we want to get out there for you.
Why? The whole show's so good.
Well, judicious editing is necessary. Anyway, thank you guys so much. See us on Facebook, in our Facebook group. Check us out on YouTube. And from Sam and I, we love you. Take care and have a good one. Stay safe.
You think this is abuse? You think this is abuse, you cocksucker? You can't take this. How can you take the abuse you get on a sit? You don't like it? Leave.